I think, you know what? We had to roll it back, finish off the group stage, do what we can, what's left. I think there's one game from the Beasty Anatan series. We've got Anatan versus Kiljadi series, Louis MT versus Baltoon series, and Puppy Paw versus Baltoon should all be viewable. So we've got like, what, 3 series? 3 and a tiny bit series. And then later on, I think what we'll do is we'll look to catch some Age of Mythology pub games. So we'll check them out a little bit later. Why am I being spammed in the background? Alright, there we go. I'm not responding to that now. He can wait. I gotta focus on the stream. So, I think what we're gonna open up with here, looking at the options that I listed, I think I want to kick off with Baltoon versus Louis. So let me just update the title right now. So this one, so it's Baltoon and Warman up against Louis and Lyrelia. Okay, this could be a really intriguing one, actually. I'm kind of curious how this one's going to play out. I think Baltoon has a clear edge here. I'm not sure who's the high-ranked player out of Lyrelia and Warman. Like, if I actually check... Is Lyrelia... Is she really? I thought she was higher than 1200 elo. Okay, yeah, she usually like is 1300 to 1400, so she's consistently like upper echelons of Diamond, like not far off Conch. She's hit Conch once, twice. So Warman is higher ranked, right? Like Warman's up at, yeah, she's in Diamond at the moment, but she usually like cracks into Conch a few times. So yeah, I think like if I looked at the pro players, I'd favor Baltoon in a 2v2 format anyway, and now he's got Warman backing him up versus Lyrelia, a little bit lower rank. So could end up being a pretty one-sided affair. We'll have to find out. 5k wasn't it? Yeah, it was 2k. So I'm categorizing it the way that the Age of RTS channel categorized it. Technically, it's a 5k event. So the Empire Duels has 2 formatted components. It has the 2v2 mixed, which is 2k, and then the Pro Circuit League, which is 3k. So just for simplification, because we like big numbers, I decided to just slap it in there as it was being listed everywhere else. So it is technically over and all a 5k event. The Pro Circuit, I think, plays this weekend. So actually kind of cool to see here, because you're essentially getting like previews of some of these players and how they perform in a team environment anyway, right? Which is definitely going to matter when we get through to that later. 1 second. Am I being spammed some other crap? I'm just going to ignore that crap. Dude, there's like big arguments going on about double elim formats and freaking single elim formats and God knows what else. I don't know about you guys. I'm never a fan of the double elim formats where it's got caveats like you get a game or 2 advantage or you have to win the series twice. It feels super weird. And then I always have people using a comparison, but this game has it like that. It's like, yeah, but Dota doesn't have that. I'm pretty sure Counter-Strike doesn't have that. Like, it's weird, man. It's definitely terrible for a broadcast. The purest element just wants the 1v1 reset, and the advantage is meant to be that, like, because someone came from the lower bracket, you got to see them play more. They reveal more strategies, right? And you have less chinks in your armor. It's meant to be one of the big edges. I don't believe so much in the whole fatigue BS. For anyone who's ever heard that stuff, like, yes, one of the big advantages of the grand finals is when you come into the grand finals from the lower bracket, you played more series, so you are now tired. It's like, that doesn't always hold up. Some players are actually like, some players actually thrive on that crap. Some players love, I remember I talked to Puppy about this. He's like, I love lower bracket, man. Because when I get into that grand finals, I'm already warmed up. They ain't warmed up for game 1, which is like a very intriguing detail to think about. But I think we should probably get ready to get underway, shouldn't we? Okay. Dude, I keep getting tempted to get dragged back into it. I'm not. I'm gonna leave it until later. All right, should we get underway? I believe. Let me double check. YouTube and Twitch are both live. Fantastic. Let's get to it. Now, there is a lobby loaded with familiar faces. One and all, welcome back to the competitive AO4 action. We've got the 2v2 tournament. That's right, the Empire Duels 2v2 tournament, the mixed element where you have the lads and the ladies playing together. On the west side of this, we actually, and we're going to flip that around because it's the wrong way around. We're going to have Byzantine and warman. Byzantine on his French, which just seems signature in team game environments, and warman on a very cozy and familiar site in the HRE. And the other side is going to be Louis, MT, and Lyrelia here. Louis going to be on the Deli in the blue, and then Lyrelia on Jeanne d'Arc in the teal. So, this is interesting, actually. I was checking on paper. Lyrelia is definitely a little bit lower ranked than warman. And then when you look on the flip side, you know, a lot of people probably rank Louis a little bit higher than Byzantine. But those are in 1v1 settings. I gotta say, I think the edge lies on the west side of this cut in Cliffside, because Byzantine probably has to be the most experienced player when it comes to team games. It's in this entire lobby. Louis plays a reasonable amount of occasion in the past, but I think Byzantine has always been kind of like a grassroots thing for him. And I'd say he's probably one of the scariest French players in team games, full stop, that you'll find. So, slight edge there with the two, but we have to look beyond that, right? Look at other elements of the comp. I love this HRE pick. If this is all about playing feudal, I'm a really big fan. We've seen a few games in this group stage already where you basically play into mass infantry. And the value of that is, unlike the other side, you have the mobility to keep up with knights, right? For example, on this side, if Louis decides he's going to go for the archers and spears, they are quicker attacking than the HRE ones, sure, but they don't have the mobility. And mobility is king on team games. It's quite awkward, really. I think in some ways it's kind of a negative element of most RTS's team gameplay experience, is that team games always tend to have bigger maps. By having bigger maps, you get this awkward dispersion that ends up favoring faster moving armies always. Like, I saw it recently in the Stormgate tournament. I've seen it plenty here in Age of Empires 4 tournaments. Think about the amount of games where you just watch someone pretty much spam up cavalry to win the game. It's why French is probably the single most comfortable and desirable pick in team formats. We're going to hit the 2x speed here, though, because the spinmen are coming out. One was trying to be a little bit annoying. A little bit of a miss micro there. Dive underneath the TC a bit too far. Does get punished. But this is all about just starving the gold. The logic here is usually the French will get ahead on knights over time anyway, due to their scaling villager count. But this guarantees it even further by delaying the initial knights to Lyrelia. This is a really smart team move here. The whole logic is if she gets starved out on the first 2 knights, and you have that 2-knight advantage as Byzantine, you can dive in and just go straight after Jeanne. Obviously, this we're going to get Tower Victory coming out, so it looks like they are going to be playing that slow comp with the cavalry support. Meanwhile, on the other side, Arkan, of course, going to be the standard go-to choice. Nice buffer on the gold as well as the wood. I don't think the stone's going to matter here because, you know, you might be thinking, wow, that stone, that's great. We could go for a 2TC build. You could also drink sewage water. You know, like, just because you can doesn't mean you should. And in a 2v2 format of this type, it feels like going 2TC as HRE is a death sentence for your team. I think usually, like, there's a very difficult curve on trying to find the time to go 2TC builds anyway in team games. Because the problem is, whenever you do that, you're kind of throwing your teammate under the bus. Think about it this way, right? You're now investing, instead of into presence, you're investing into eco, into greed. And you might be harder to dent because of it. For example, an English player that builds 2TC. But how protected now is your ally? Like, that's always the big question mark you have to ask. And quite often the answer is, not very. Usually they're a little bit exposed because when you're in a 2v1 situation, that all-in timing arrives a lot quicker in a game, which means you get less time to make a town center play pay off. So outpost going up. This should get level 2 for Lyrelia. Plenty of XP in that tower. South side, we are going to be getting the racks here. Okay, so this is a nice, easy pivot for warman into mass archers then. And remember, mass archers works very well with the mass knighting, especially considering you've already got the edge in terms of count. We'll probably see warman add in a few spearmen, at least bare minimum to protect the home. But yeah, kind of a rough start when Lyrelia has to kick off by building into horsemen here. I'm a little bit surprised by this because currently there isn't a reason. Looks like Jeanne is now going to go for the rundown. We'll be able to get one of the spearmen. Funny thing is, you should be able to kite zone indefinitely, but every once in a while when she gets the charge, she will get the ability to gap close. And what? What is Louis do? Is this... I think he's just going to try to wall the entire map. Gradually, right? So this is a little bit surprising to me. I thought he would just do the plus here, right? Wall all edges around the sacred site and lock in. But it almost looks like he's going for a long wall gradually. I think the logic is that over time he'll be able to play out into deer and berries, but this almost feels a bit too quick. Maybe it's because he thinks Baltoon's going to need to play out to those deer, but we can see on the minimap, man, Baltoon has plenty of food sitting between his and Warman's base, a much safer option. First knight begins to arrive. But Spiminar here, right? So, like, Baltoon doesn't really want to fight this. A little bit intriguing that we got melee zone, by the way. Usually you want to go range zone when you're up against knight factions, but I think the reason is because they're expecting mass spears here. But jump in with the first knight there. Baltoon forcing all that attention, all that out of time, and getting 2 villagers isn't a terrible trade here. Does, of course, enable zone a little bit with the XP exchange. I think you're overall happy with that, right? Like, this is still going to be a knight advantage. Lyrelia only has 1 single knight, and I think Baltoon is sitting at what? Yeah, 3 already. I think that's the interesting thing. We usually talk about like killing 1 or 2 villagers with the first knight isn't worth it because you can idle them out so much, and you just keep coming back for more. But in this mirror matchup between purple and teal, it is actually worth it to kill 2 villagers and delay the arrival of an extra knight, right? Because you're inflating your knight count either way. And this is pretty brutal, though. We're seeing a big lead developing. I mean, Louis at least has this bulk of spears that's now super scary, but you already see the transition underway. Warman is now moving over into the archers, and we have got the double archery range pump. Farms gradually being added in will allow them to kind of inflate that economy over time. This is an interesting approach, though, by Louis. It's definitely not cheap what he's doing here. In some ways, it's very effective, though, right? Like, one of your opponents is spamming knights. That's less torch per resource invested. And the other is spamming archers, which is no torch for resource invested. The problem is you just need so much time. And you can see Baltoon and Warman aren't giving that. It's almost like Louis was maybe anticipating this was going to be like a fast castle HRE build, which I would abide by his play if that was the logic, right? Like, that buys you so much time. Just being able to catch up, wall off these relics, and come in on delay. But against double feudal all-in, this feels so unnecessarily greedy. I'm taking a chill pill for the moment, but I don't think that's going to last very long here. So what is the play now? Louis trying to switch into mass archers, but he's very delayed at this stage, right? I think they need some raids. Lyrelia has a few knights, not many, but she needs to start finding targets soon. The problem is, it seems they were all too aware of this, and on top of that, we see the counter to Jaune. Man, this is why I prefer French over Jaune in team games, weirdly enough. Like, you'd think Jaune would be better because the XP escalation, but in 2v2s, if there's a French player, it feels like this happens so often. Why? Because you have to move on the map. Because it's a bigger map, there's lots more opportunities for knights to just sneak in and find Jaune unguarded, right? Because if you want to be efficient, you can't wait for her to show up to locations. You have to move without her. So A, she either ends up at home doing nothing, or B, she's running after the knight group, like that little kid chasing after Papa, right? Like, hey, yeah, I can do what the big kids are doing. It's like, no, buy a horse first. Jesus, my childhood would have been very different if that was a requirement. Imagine your dad just being like, you can do things with us when you can afford a pony. Man, I'd never get to do anything with current prices of horses. Maybe if I get one of those busted up mules. Speaking of mules, I believe Baltoon is about to make an ass out of Lyralia's army. This is looking grim. Louis needs to get here fast. Louis, who, remember, was starting to kind of switch over, right? He was looking for the archer count now. This is problematic. Baltoon just has so much firepower. Spinman also absorbing the blows, so no braces coming out. The second wave arrives, and they realize how bad of a situation it is. This is the power of the HRE. That rundown, there's no running away from it. few spears remaining, but not enough to hold back this many knights. They're just camped outside the base, and I think we are going to get a very dominant 1-0 lead in this opening game on Cliffside. It's very difficult to see how this falls apart now. Right now, Louis and Lorelia are kind of pinned in their base. They're not raiding on the flanks. That's the problem. If they at least had a few knights leaking in and finding a snipe here or there, you could see the way, right? You could believe. But that doesn't exist. Not even sacred sites are feasible here. All getting decapped. So at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if, yep, there you go, Warman is heading towards castle. It's pretty standard in this type of position, right? Like, you could try to win like this, and you probably would over time. But it's definitely more cost efficient to just take this approach, get the better units out, right? You've already got men-at-arms starting to scale. They would do phenomenally well here. Especially once you tech up. And I believe that is going to be a classic Regnitz play on the way now from Marika. Okay, Baltun, he's not far off himself, guys. This is pretty strong right now. Like, he's almost at 20 knights. Once you're past 20 knights, Royal Institute tends to feel pretty good at that stage, right? Like, sacrificing 2.5 knights of production to get Royal Bloodlines pays off, and boom, there it is. The synchronized tech up out of the two. Confidence as well, knowing that he's diving into the spear spamming base. He doesn't seem to care. Baltun just looking to keep the pressure up here. Louis running for his life right now because the spearmen and the archers were defending Lyrelia's base. Great raid by Baltun. And on top of that, we now have a raid on the other side of the map. Warman is getting ready to pull them all the way back to Teal's base. Oh, this is brutal, man. Well, I'm hoping game 2 we're going to have something a little bit tighter because this felt ridiculously dominant. That HRE pick, you know, you can do it with other civs as well. Just a spearman opening to screw them over. But I think the follow-up details, the creme de la creme. The movement speed to just always keep pace with the knights. We see so often these knight builds where they're basically covering greed. Like you have a teammate that's slow, like English, and they just go castle instead. But this was all-out relentless aggression. I think that's why French plus HRE is probably one of my favorite combos for 2v2s right now. Well, I'm going to try to force the fight, but of course, when you're on a horse... oh no! Runs away. But he'll be back, folks. Baltun just needs to queue up that veterancy, and then he'll be ready to rock and roll. Coming in just 10 seconds here, at which point Lyrelia's army will be decimated. But also, her economy is going to get decimated. Look at this, a dive in from Warman there as well. Man, I swear, you know, I really do kind of want to see some smaller maps for team games because I really feel for people. This is the environment that fested the idea that French is OP and led to Reddit threads, right? Like in team games, they look ridiculous because they just run around your base constantly, right? And if they feel like there's no in on your base, they go to the teammate's base. And if you don't mirror their moves, at least, they get damage done, right? Like it just provides so much space in team environments. And they've decided to now turn on the slow-moving army, and that might force a commitment from Baltun, but I'm not sure that's one that you want here. These are veteran Royal Knights. They jump straight in on the Archer Mass. Joe's now going to get sniped down as well. Divine Restoration has to be pumped just to try and survive this, but it's looking grim. Final hit needed on Joan. Warman will find it. Knights have to peel back down. There is still a lot of spearmen here, but keep in mind behind this, relics are being returned for Warman. Archer Mass should be good enough to finish off the spears. I do think there was a little bit of a mistake there. Warman never upgrading to vet archers, a little bit surprising. Looks like it's finally been queued up, but wasn't immediately queued when she teched. But it's still good enough, right? Spear count is in the gutter. And although the military count shows an advantage for Louis and Lyrelia, what you have to realize is they're both stuck an age behind. Neither is showing any signs of reaching up here. I think this would require a heavy dose of inactivity from the West Side team to now go any further. And even if it does, right, like in the meantime, you're going to have to add in a lot of units. Adding in units equal having this lofty army you have to upgrade. That takes a long time because you're Delhi. Men-at-arms are starting to arrive. No heavy maces yet, but they are at least chunky. 155 HP each. Sacred Sites are locked in. There's no way they could hold for 10 minutes, right? It would be the tallest of orders. Because you'd have to go 200 pop before teching if you want to hold 3 Sacred Sites, right? I mean, Lyrelia keeps flowing a decent amount of resources. I don't think it's viable for her to rush Castle now. You just don't have much value in the field. You'd be better off probably scaling more Knights. The only reason I think she's doing this is because she's contemplating an arbitrary transition. Which is, in theory, pretty cool, right? But in reality, because of that mobility issue, unless you have properly walled the map, and I mean stone walls instead of palisades, you're probably never going to be able to spread yourself out wide enough to block all avenues of approach. Vet Spear's now starting to arrive as well. Yeah, we got the full Vet Force now. This is what was missing before for Warman, but it's now in effect. Behind this, I think she's gathered 2, if not 3 of the relics. Looks like Lyrelia, she is going to lose all those Knights. So at this point, I mean, you might as well go Guildhall, right? Root Institute isn't going to offer you much, but I don't know if you have enough time for Guildhall. Keeping in mind these relics are starting to be banked, 2 already at home and more to be accessed soon. She still goes for it though. Root Institute gets queued up. Look at the Knight difference now though. 15 to 3. Double tech off on the way. You know, in theory, if they had a reserve of Spearmen here against these Knights, right? There's maybe a way to weather that storm. I think one player would be sacrificed because of it. It's very rare that 2-player tech-ups work unless you've taken a big edge, right? That's why we saw it work for Byzantine and Warman, is they've done so much damage that it was justified. The question now is, has Lyrelia and Louis done enough? Looking slightly doubtful right now. Jump in. Immediate targeting onto Joan. Looking to just get rid of her here. She's going to back away. Need to be careful because she's close to getting that level 3, but she runs back in! And goes down. Lyrelia without Joan, without the goal to achieve a buyback here, and now without an army to defend her base. All Knights have been removed bar 1. The Archer Mass is about to get annihilated at the backside. They may have both gotten to age 3, but now they're going to get back to the lobby. Game 1 going to Byzantine and Warman. Oof. So I think I already addressed this. The reason why we put it 5K, we just basically, I think I forgot to update it on the YouTube side. Basically, we put 2K yesterday, which is true for this component, but in terms of marketing, the Empire Duels tournament is a 2-part tournament made up of 5K. So you've got the 2K prize pool for the Mixed Masters, which is this component, and then you've got the 3K for the Pro Circuit. So for continuity's sake, because it's being called a 5K elsewhere, I decided to just stick to that. Sorry, just checking something. All right, there we go. Still 5 minutes until EU is up for deadlock. Dude, don't get me started. I was on like a 12-win streak, and then I queued up with a friend, and we got the most trashy lobbies imaginable. I'm still mad from that last night. Holy crap. Dude, the feeling when the enemy team gets a Yamato and you have a Haze. And you're like, both of these are going to be useless, but one of them will eventually kill all of us. And it isn't Haze. That game made me mad, man. That game made me so mad. Alright, so let me get the next game ready. I'm kind of annoyed, actually, because there is... I noticed there's a small tournament that I could have streamed happening on the weekend 14th, 15th, but we're doing Rebel Warlord. So that's pretty annoying. I mean, it's annoying, it's not, you know. We're busy. So next up, we've actually got Dry Arabia. Rus, Byzantine versus French UG. I mean, they have got French, right? I'm trying to think how this plays out. Like, I don't know. I've been very underwhelmed by Juji's performance in this tournament so far. I don't think they play the 2v2 environment that well. From what I've seen, anyway. Maybe I've just been given the ugly games, the poor example games, but yeah, they haven't been looking good. I think Wham and Wham might have at some point. I can't remember, though. Maybe I'm misimagining that, though. Alright. Ooh, gotta keep remember to do that. Because I can't be asked to disable it, because after these, after we've done these series, we'll be back on the 1v1s, and I'll have to re-enable it. Could this be a bottom 3 Civ in 2v2s? Because that's the feeling I'm getting right now, folks. I have been fully underwhelmed by what I've been seeing out of Juji so far in this 2v2 tournament. It feels like even on maps where they should be able to hit, they can't because of how big the maps are and how slow their comps are. Let's see if Lyrelia can educate us. Lyrelia on the Juji. Louis MT is going to be supporting on the French. And to the south side, Baltoon has another Night Civ because we know he loves them so much. This time it's going to be the Rus because remember, if you win with a Civ, you can't pick it again. Rounding them out, it is going to be Warman on the Byzantine. So Warman is basically a full Roman Empire gal at this point. You know, HRE to begin, and then we follow up with the Byzantines. She also plays a lot of English historically, and you know, we may have had some interactions with the Romans once upon a time. Just saying. So it's a pretty powerful roster, right? Like HRE, I think, is going to be a solid get through the group stage, easy peasy, BO3 formatter. And Byzantines works really well. They have these succinct timings that work really well with Night Civs, where they can cover the spear component easily, but also arch in to support with the range with lombos or jabs. This matchup, if you're looking to attack, jabs makes a lot of sense. If you're looking to defend, lombos makes more sense. Considering you're likely to be up against Shigenu plus Knights, I'm expecting us to see javelins here. And on top of that, it has a really nice transition upon Castle Age, because whenever you're against the Night Civ like the French, those camel riders are immediately going to find value. And keep value is the most important part, right? Because I don't think so far we've had a single game where a French player has, in a desirable position, looked to switch off of Knight spam. So we're going to hit the fast forward a little bit, just so we can get to the age 2. Have we got any dirty sheep hauler? Baltoon's at 10. Warman's at 7. We've got 14 for Louis, which is pretty damn good. And then finally it's going to be 12 coming in for Lyrelia. Not a bad grab on the Meditation Garden either. 50 gold, 25 stone, and probably about 25 wood, so 100 resources overall. I find this is one of the weird baiting things about Juji, by the way. They've been looking underwhelming in these 2v2 formats because the map just feels too big, right? But one thing that baits you into them looking like a good pick are the spawns. When you hop into team games, you can still get absolutely ludicrous Meditation Gardens. We're talking 150 plus resources, right? We had one on Cliffside the other day where it was a 48 food, 50 gold, and I think 50 stone. It was, and then 1 wood. Yeah, so it was 149 resource Meditation Garden. Those, I don't want to say they're dime a dozen, but they are quite frequent when you hop into larger maps. Gremlin drop coming in. That's kind of cool, actually. Baltoon kind of pseudo-bridging the gap between him and his teammates' base. It also protects the deer behind for Baltoon, which is very valuable. Remember, you gather off of these sources, and you end up getting additional pennies in your pocket. In fact, you can already see the effect of that on the sheep. What do you guys think of the new bounty system so far, by the way? I mean, I have a bias towards it because I did recommend it, but I think it's a damn solid improvement. I find it's so much better that you don't have to play this little game of deer roulette, shall we say. Right? I think that was a very oppressive element that early in the game you had to react. And, you know, it wasn't like a Mongol outpost rush situation where you have to react. Like a Mongol outpost rush where you have to react to it, I'm going to slow down 1 times speed, is different because the investment cost to your opponent is so high, right? So if you punish it, it feels like they got punished. I found time and time again when Rus spam scouts, you know, they still got enough to justify the scouts they built, but they force you to build less villages, and then they had all the vision. It was a perfect example of a terrible minigame that was only fun for one player. Roos minigame was kind of fun, though. Yeah, but Fablop, were you playing Roos? I played Roos at launch. I know the minigame was fun for me, but I know it was not fun for everyone else. So Warman actually adding quite a few olive groves early. Yeah, they're going to play a defensive format, aren't they? That's intriguing. Yeah, you can already see Limitane coming, Knights as well. I mean, it makes sense, right? You're never going to beat French Knights on a direct fight with Roos on 1TC. And if you try to rush towards them, like, it favors Chuganu. But if you wait for them to come to you to expose themselves, especially when you're scaling groves like this so early, it means you're going to ramp your merc count quite quickly. That's important here, because it means when they arrive, they can retreat. At least one of them can. That would be Louis. Lyrelli, on the other hand, is going to be left in the dust because Chuganu, they're like slugs. They don't really move. Knights are looking for a strike in here. We've even got farms added in by Baltune. A little bit more surprising, but you know it's kind of cool when you think about it because you get a 20% discount in a weird way because you gather 20% more wood, right? So not the worst of ideas, and usually this wouldn't be feasible. It would almost be taboo because when you play in 1v1s, you need to think about adding in archers, right? But in a 2v2 setting, you are basically just going to do what the French are doing as well. You're spamming knights. And the cool thing about this is there is an edge you can get as Baltune in this matchup versus Louis. Louis right now has the pocket resources, and he'll continue to extend out. But as he continues to extend out, it gets more and more risky. It gets close to the enemy. By building these farms, you're always safe at home. You're always protected in the most protected area on the map. So really cool idea there. Funnily enough, Baltune could easily access the deer as well if he just walls this little side here and warman walls this one. That'll get them a huge amount of food, basically for free. Oh, not for free. Probably about 80 wood max in costs. What do you guys think? Ones if you think Louis and Lyrelli are looking much better off right now. Twos if you think Baltune and Warman are chilling. I think Louis and Lyrelli are in a good position, but they need to do something with it. There's this really baity element of just scale more and more Chuganu, but the thing that's scary about that is that you're up against Byzantines. The reason that's a problem is like Byzantines are very sneaky, very sudden in their techs, right? And if you take too long while scaling too many Chuganu, you're going to be running into big threats. Things like mangonels come to mind, which we've seen, yes, Chuganu can beat mangoes, but that's in a 1v1 format where usually someone teching doesn't have a front line to stop the Chug from diving. You'll always have your teammate Baltune here. I'm wondering if we ever see like a switchover now that they see their opponents aren't coming out. Like, could Lyrelli, in theory, just rush castle? I guess it would kind of pivot the aggression towards your side of the map, right? So you want to make sure you've got ample troops before you even contemplate that idea. Remember, the thing that makes it so good for the Juji is they get a 15% discount on the tech, but they also build it quicker because they are China. And then because you go into the monks, you immediately have a way of inflating your economy and getting paid back for the investment. And it would have been a good spawn for it as well, actually. We've got these 3 relics quite close to Lyrelli's base. So far, no interest. Baltune is now going to be shifting out onto that deer pack. So we talked about this, right? It's basically safe economy for him. The likelihood that Louis is going to dive in there is very low. It's too much risk, right? Like, you've got Kremlins and outposts blocking one side. Knights and spearmen could sandwich you. It's not really a position I'm expecting Louis to take. Even more so now that Lyrelli is showing up. When she shows up this Juganu, you kind of become anchored. And it's why we were talking earlier about HRE and French being such a good combo for 2v2s. Because you don't feel anchored or slowed, right? You need to run away. Great. HRE, within reason, can do that with you as well. Baltune making farms this early is a weak move. I dare you to say that to his face. I mean, he doesn't want to come out, right? So I kind of get it. You're never going to beat French Knights in a one-on-one. You can maybe use Defender's Advantage logic that you have more Knights on the side, but it's like, it's catching them that's always just the sticky element. Like, if you think about it, the East Side team, Baltune and Warman, are very cost-efficient at getting farms. For some reason, the Byzantine farms are still a little bit cheaper. I don't know why they're cheaper, but they are by 5. On top of that, you get 8 stone back for building them, right? So they're actually a 62 resource investment because you want that stone persistence anyway, and outposts. So 62 resource farm. And over here, instead of paying 75 resources, it's like in a weird way, it's like you're paying 60 resources because you're getting 20% more wood, right? So compared to other civs, like you're just more efficient on that transition. So this whole idea of like double farming and just hunkering down is pretty crafty. It does have its risk. They have to survive the push that's coming. The defender's advantage is a crazy thing here, folks. Like, you know, you see the military situation. It's actually about, I'd say, a 10 military lead at the moment because there's another 10 involved in running across the map right now. We have a lot of farms. This is kind of wild out of Byzantine, right? We're already up to 11 farms. Meanwhile, when we look at Marika's base, she is holding on to quite a lot of spearmen. But the javelin count is surging now. This is the scary part. If Louis and Lyrelia wait too long, remember that the system levels will keep scaling and the grove count will keep increasing. And that's where you will run into eternal issues. So sooner rather than later, Louis and Lyrelia need to make their move. I think this is always the frustrating thing about like Byzantines, right? You know, you think about English sometimes being this annoying. The difference with English is they're this annoying because they build that 2TC build right now. The Byzantines, I'm trying to think if there's another example of a civilization that can play such a long feudal and gradually scale such a big increase in their economy, right? Because the systems are adding in an extra 4% per level. The olive groves are insanely efficient. I don't think there's any other civ that holds that type of torch, right? Like, you know, we usually talk about HRE being OP, but that's for the early mid-feudal. In a long feudal, they kind of become weak because they are able to get the farms, but they aren't able to get the wood anymore, right? Speaking of farms, more coming in now. Tech up about to be on the way, and check this. Wow, the read on both sides. Louis and Lyrelia back up to go for a tech up, and Warman is already ready to rock and roll. Byzantine, on the other hand, may prove to be a liability here. He's not teching. Yeah, this is dangerous, guys. There hasn't been a single knight lost so far, right? So you've got 24 knights versus 24. But with Royal Institute, Louis can get a huge boon to his military power here. Warman is at least teching up. I mean, the Limitane are going to be a very big problem now. Remember, when you go into Castle, something that makes Byzantines pretty damn good for 2v2s as well is, remember I said about HRE being good for infantry because the mobility? You can do that too with the Byzantines. It's all about the teardrop shields. Teardrop shields will give you the extra 15% movement speed, so you move actually quicker than HRE spears do. I believe we should have blacksmiths ready back here. Yeah, so teardrop shields should really be a high priority, I'd imagine here. Baltoon already catching up with the tech up. High trade house on the way. Get your numbers in. What are we dealing with here? Baltoon, he's only... Oh, look at this. Rookie numbers. Only tier 2. I mean, in fairness, this is what happens, and it feels weird to look at it, but this is genuinely what happens when you have to transition farm so early. You do lose out on the bounty system. Spin making a donation. I'm a bit of a surprise. Warman hasn't got the veterancy yet. Presumably that's on the way and she's trying to dangle a little here. Otherwise, this is weird. Okay, there we go. Yeah, 26 seconds away, though, because it's not close enough to a system to be rushed with Dialecticus. A little bit problematic. Dive now coming in, though. Lyrelia has upgraded that Zhuge Nu force. Full vetted. Same with the Knights as well. Royal Institute hasn't yielded its results yet, though. Royal Bloodlines is coming in 20 seconds. So now's the time to fight if you're going to do it. Otherwise, you're going to be forced back entirely. Louis actually pivoting over towards Limitane. The upgrade just came in, though. He jumps into the choke point at the worst possible time. Zhuge Nu now just trying to trade out. Limitane with the shield wall are able to last a decent amount longer. And Knights are now committing. A movement comes in here. But Royal Bloodlines just completed. Louis has got 24 Knights still to play with. Right now, though, we are seeing a lead starting to build for Baltoon. Enough that if this Knight line fails, the Zhuge Nu are all but dead. And I think they might be, because Louis wants out of here. He backs up. He uses the Zhuge Nu as a wall here. and ultimately gives the win over to the Purple Cavalry. Damn. What a fight. I can't believe that. Mashug up against Javelins. You think they do okay, right? Because the Javelin attack speed is pretty underwhelming. But truly, I think the crazy degree of value you get out of the shield wall plus the range 2 armor is out of this world. On top of that, it looks like Lyrelia skipped a beat here. She did not get the +2 ranged upgrade, so missing out on a potential extra free damage is a big no-no. That is why that hold was so easy peasy in the end for Warman. The mass spears were absorbing so much fire. Yeah, I'm a little bit baffled by that, man. I think Lyrelia, you know, it's going to be a face-palming moment afterwards. I think she realized it in the fight now. Sure, there's a lot of value in shield wall. The damage mitigation is huge, but you know, giving up on that +1 by going range level 2, you know, I think that really would have been the difference maker. It's tough as well to find those timings, but you know, Juji is meant to be one of the more easy civs to do it with. If you have the gold, you have supervision, you can rush it up. And in a way, you can match up very well against the Byzantines that also can rush their blacksmith techs with the Dialecticus effect. But that small detail seems to have really decided it all. I mean, you've lost control now, right? And we said about this impeding timing that it was going to be a problem, that when you start to lose map control, Louis was going to be the one to suffer the most. We're about to see that. Villagers are going to have to garrison. Knight count is good enough to just contest this, though. With the Limitane back up, Louis can't defend his villages. Nice, I'll just go around the back. He's going to try, though. Surprising choice here because he sandwiches himself! Not like this. Louis, the panic of it right now! He can't get away quick enough. So many knights lost there. Louis, reluctant to give up his only food source currently on the map, still loses it, and may now have just lost the game and lost the series. A brutal situation, right? And you know, you can't blame Lyrelia on that one. She couldn't arrive. Her army's way too slow to keep pace with this. This is the power of the Limitane, right? The Limitane detail, they're always going to be quicker than the Juge Nude and the crossbows. They could even be quicker if we had teardrop shields coming in. Not even needed, though. Valtin and Warman proving that hunkering down was the right call here. Looked a little bit shaky at moments. But, you know, in hindsight, looking back at this, you have to wonder, did Louis and Lyrelia jump the gun? Did they need to send it in when they did? Or could they have just played map, played relics, taken an extra minute or two, scaled a bit better, and then came for the kill? I don't think we'll ever know now. Villagers having to vacate the area. Looks like the crossbow Chiganu are just going to be stuck absorbing everything here. Knights are a little bit overzealous from Baltin, but it's no longer about him. He's done what he needs to. The fact that he still has the same number of knights as the Royal Bloodline French player says everything it needs to in this game. Warlord coming in. It's at least going to create some space. But there's no amount of space you can buy against the Byzantine force here. Camel Riders are now in. That's going to apply the debuff to make sure that these Roost Knights can actually fight one-to-one with the French Knights. Let's imagine that there's nothing else in this army. It's still a hard fight. But then when you realize just how many Javelins and Varangian are being pushed across the map right now, the outcome just seems all too obvious. And yes, the high trade house number was 162. So by my maths, Faplot was the closest, secretly revealing himself as a Roostmate. Oh, what a cool game, though. You know, I think I'm really enjoying watching these 2v2 games. The only thing I really feel like is truly missing is good map variety. And that's not on like the tournament organizer side, that's not on Warman. That's on just the maps in the game that exist. We need more cool designs, more like, you know, different distances, very tight, close maps, very wide maps, cool water maps for team games. I'd be up for that, because I think that's the only itch I'm missing right now, and it might get us something other than just French being S tier in team games. And Rus also being high up there. Basically, heavy cavalry being the Giga Chads of Team AoE 4. Although in fairness to Warman, the Byzantines look like the backbreaker in this one. Gorge is a cool team game map. Yeah, but that's one map, right? And I praise Gorge for its team setting a lot. And it's good. I love it. But, I cannot lie, it is only one map. There needs to be more maps. What about forts? Oh no. I don't know if I've ever heard anyone say anything good about forts. In theory, it's a cool idea for a map. It's just the design of MMO4 doesn't allow it to really work that way, right? Okay, so let me mark that series off. We can do... Should we do you guys want more Baltoon, or do you want to mix it up? We've got Puppy Paw versus Baltoon. There's at least one Beasty Anatan game we can see. I think it's game 2. And then there's Anatan versus Kiljardi. Choices. I'm weighing it up, actually. Let's do the Puppy Paw versus Baltoon series. Let me update title as well. I like forts because I can tower rush in Stealth Forest. Oh no. Chris, what have you done? You've exposed yourself. That statement is the equivalent of just running out into the open and going, I find lambs oddly sexual. Right? Like, what have you done? Sir, that's not something you should share. Sir, please, get off the table. Oh dear, oh dear. Let's have a look. So, Puppy Paw versus... Who did we say it was Puppy Paw versus Baltoon we won, right? Let me check. Is it here? Just trying to find it now. Where the bloody hell is it? Am I blind? Check Baltoon's data. Someone who finds lambs very appealing is feeling quite targeted right now. Dude, my hair is actually getting really annoying. Oh, I think I need a haircut. Ugh. For some reason, the headset not sitting comfortable. Not sure if I blame hair or glasses. So, just double checking this is the right one. So it's Puppy Paw Warman. I was about to say Wham. Puppy Paw Warman versus Baltoon Nams. Yes, there's the one. Yeah, I'm meant to be having some new gunner glasses sent out soon. Hopefully they arrive soonish. Oh, God. I need to turn on the fan as well. It's so hot again. I'm weighing up whether I need to update my channel logo, actually. I've had the good old bird for quite a few years, but I think someone mentioned recently it's a bit hard to tell it's even a bird. Might try to get a fancy logo made up. I need to find some extra artists to work with. One of my artists, the girl who makes the the emotes for Twitch, just became drastically harder to contact because she's in Brazil, and I don't know if you guys have kept up with the news, but Brazil just banned Twitter. Yep, you heard me correctly. Interesting move. By interesting, I mean incredibly dickish move by the government. Dude, it's one of those scary things that always reminds you of the importance of like diversifying. Like, yeah, I need to find her Discord details because I've always talked to her through Twitter. But it really reminds you of the importance of diversifying, right? Like that's why we do content on YouTube, Twitch. You know, I need to find an editor so I can do stuff on TikTok as well, right? Like. Because you never know what's going to happen, and if you are all in on just one and something, like some sort of decision goes against you, which historically these companies have shown they will do, you're just kind of dead. Musk is sending Twitter via satellite there? I mean, I don't think that would change anything though, right? Maybe I'm wrong. I haven't really looked into satellite tech too much. Twitter got really radical. I mean, it's the whole idea of like, where does... Okay, so it's always that classic of like, where does freedom of speech just become someone being an asshole? Like, that's the way, always the classic way I like to explain to people is like, when does freedom of speech just become someone just being a complete and utter... Because it does have that convergence point. Right? It goes back to what we said earlier. It's like the classic, just because you can doesn't mean you should. You know? All right. It's the moment we've all been waiting for in the TV2 tournament. That's right. $2,000 on the line in the mixed format here. We have got Puppy Paw over here, because I'm colorblind, clearly. And warman. You thought I was going to say it was the twin showdown. No, folks, it's actually Puppy Paw and warman going up against Byzantine and Nams. This is a fun one, though. We've got some Jaune plus HRE on the east side team, which I'm going to flip the UI, so that lines up perfectly. Sorry for that. And then on the west side, we've got French and Juji, and I really have been quite vocal about this. I do not rate Juji at all. It's starting to feel like it's a comfort pick for Nams, because I feel like we've seen them play it in 3 different games at least so far. I don't rate this Civ highly. I don't think the maps are right for it. Maybe on Gorge, I could see the value in Juji. The Meditation Gardens would maybe not be the best. Maybe you get lucky. But the walk distance to attack your opponent is low, right? Compare that to Cliffside. Cliffside on a 1v1 format, you're actually closer to the enemy than on Gorge. But in a 2v2 format, that outcome is reversed. On Gorge, you're closer as the front spawning players. And on Cliffside, you're further away. If you ever wondered how far away you are, look at this. Did that feel quick for any unit in Age of Empires 4? Even a Fire Lancer would have to take a break to catch their breath after that run. It's a pretty long distance for Chugenu to try and exploit. You do at least get moments like this, though. Nams is going to find the very high value Meditation Garden. Ooh, not quite able to get the full food amount. So that's going to end up being 66 food, 25 stone, and probably about, like, 10 wood if you're lucky. I think it's actually more like 7. Alternatives would have been here, maybe. I think they would have been able to get 75 stone plus the berries, which leads to a gradual transition, but still, I don't think that's really what you're looking for. You could have went up here for the 50 stone plus the 48 food. I don't feel like there was a broken... Okay, actually, that might have been better. I don't know if you would have been able to clip the gold and get all the food, though. But if you could have got gold instead of stone, I think that would have been preferable here, because although the stone's pretty nice for the early kind of hand cannon slit placements, I don't think that detail matters as much in 2v2s. In 1v1s, one hand cannon slit can kind of ruin a push, right? But when you double the firepower being thrown at you, because there's 2 players attacking, one outpost doesn't last very long. We already have walls now coming up from warman, so it looks like she's protecting her flank. Palace Guard? So the problem with Palace Guard Faplop, and the reason why Palace Guard suck, is because you're against Night Civs. Palace Guard makes... so Palace Guard, yes, I think Palace Guard is being slept on a little bit by 2G players still. I think it has situations in 1v1s where it's good. But in team games, when you know there's a Night Civ, Palace Guard is like the worst thing you can build. You just die. You die, you get hit by lance charges, walloped, and then kited, and then walloped again, right? So it's pretty difficult. I mean, the mobility idea is cool, right? But also in this matchup, if you just go Palace Guard, your opponent will go Meta Arms. And HRE have a better day with that format, right? Like, it's slightly cheaper for them to build into Men at Arms. The Men at Arms will be quick enough to keep up the Palace Guard, easy peasy. On top of that, if you both end up going Castle, the Men at Arms army is just immediately better. So yeah, Nams pretty much just has to do Chuganu spam. The only other option would be like a fast tech. But I've yet to see a Juji player try that. Puppy now in the move, though. He did go for the range zone, which makes a lot of sense when you're in a Night Clash. And, oh, no. Something, something, something. This is why French counters Zhone. Is he trying to get the scout? No, he's just randomly hitting the knights. Kind of interesting. Usually you want to save these until you can definitely guarantee a kill. The only other reason is if you've got max charges. But considering Papa Paw only has one, a little bit surprised he threw that out so early. All right, what do you think, guys? Left side team, put ones. Right side team, put twos. Who's taking this? That count's looking pretty good all of a sudden for Puppy Paw. Baltoon, I'm a little bit worried, actually. He doesn't have a knight lead currently. He was meant to get that zone kill, right? But Puppy Paw was quick on the reaction. Didn't give him that opportunity. We've got Blacksmith's already being dropped. It's triple archery range. So Nam's just doing what they've been doing every game. Oh, I do dream of the games that we get to 30, 40 minutes, right? Just because, like, then you, as long as you're not playing French, you see some unit diversity. You're like, congrats, you can build something else. I do have to wonder if there is something psychotic about people that main France in team games. Sorry, Baltoon. It's just, no. So my thought is you basically have to do the same thing over and 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 over again. Which is true. But that same thing is ruining everyone else's game plan. God, that, you know, at first I was like, this sounds boring, but now that I think about it, yes. I would do well as a French main in 2v2s. It's all about making people uncomfortable, right? Making them suffer. Finally, I have some insight as to why people pick English. Revolves around how much XP Zhone gets? Well, it revolves around whether she can survive, but that's where these spearmen are really handy. It's quite ballsy to build into spearmen like this against Master Chuganu, but, you know, it's early days. You know they're not going to be coming out. Why is Baltoon walling where Nam's base is? What, you mean walling here? Because he's covering part of the area while she covers the other. So, like, part of this is because Nams is pumping everything to get the critical mass Chuganu, and Baltoon has more villages over time, right? But realistically, like, Nams' villages should build these quicker. The problem is that I'm pretty sure Baltoon has wheelbarrow. Yeah, and Nams doesn't. So even just walking out here is insanely expensive because you know how it is. Oh, wait. Wait, they do have wheelbarrow. Okay, my bad. I didn't see the mill there. Okay, yeah, there's no excuse then. They probably could have walled that. The good guy Baltoon. I think the logic for him was he was already in the area doing this. So it's connection points, right? Whereas for Nams, it's here, here, and then here. So for Baltoon, that flow of walling was a bit more natural. He was already in the area. So I'm just going to call Warman out on this one. These are the teammates that make you cry in team games. You know where I'm going with this, folks. The ones that wall themselves in and say, good luck. I mean, in fairness, Warman isn't being as cursed as those people on the ladder about it. She's not just sitting at home, smoking a pipe and laughing. She's actually trying to wall herself in so she can bring her whole army out. And that's what she's going to do now. Men-at-arms, Spearman, charging forward. Knights are feeling confident about this right now. This should be a really good fight for Baltoon. Puppy is at least staying alive with Zhone. He'll farm up a lot of XP from a fight this big. The question is whether it's going to be enough. Spearman count is getting low. This is the problem with the spears we talked about, right? The paper shredders, the Chuganu are just able to eviscerate that front line. Damn good fight for Nams and Baltoon, and now one that they should be able to extrapolate into a bigger advantage here. I think you can just keep ramping pressure now. Looks like instead of diving into Warman's base, they're contemplating heading over towards Puppy Paws here. Not the worst of ideas, right? H.O. will just set up farms and be pretty cozy on an Archon, whereas Zhone needs to start playing out onto like berries and deer and whatnot, right? You can't just farm transition the way certain other civs can. We have already got Shiver on both sides, right? Yeah. Oh, wait, no. Oh, that's sick. Oh, that is so big brain. Puppy Paw doesn't have Chivalry. Warman is just using a Prelate to heal them all off. That's sick. It's these small details that always make me smile, man. You know, we've seen a bunch of Delhi today, and I don't think I've seen any Delhi players utilize that element of the strategy. Sick to see out of an HRE. And arms are going to charge out here. There's a lot of attention. Joan is once again milking this, by the way. Puppy Paw already has 350 XP. If he doesn't get sniped soon, we're going to be looking at level 3 Joan. You know what, guys? This actually might be the perfect type of game to get into Joan's Riders. Perfect counter to your opponent's Mass Chiganu. Deals with them down the line when they try to go crossbows to counter the Knight player as well. Time being outposts are going to start getting spammed up more. Well, they're not out of the hole yet. And the hole might be about to get a bit deeper. But no one has started drowning them yet. Puppy Paw and Warman have survived. Outpost defense is an interesting one here. And wait, Nams? What? Oh my god, no, what just happened? Nams, because Baltoon ran south, she couldn't hang around. So instead, they just burned 400 resources in terms of... I'm out of words for that one. 400 wood of rams for nothing. I am baffled, man. I can't believe the miscoordination there. Well, actually, I don't think it's even miscoordination. I legit think it was actually just more really smart play out of Puppy Paw and Warman there. Realizing what was happening and immediately punishing it. And now, turns out we've actually got the Jones champions coming in here. So someone to absorb all those archer shots. A little bit surprising. I think in this matchup, once again, Joe's Riders was good because practically no damage from Chiganu. Let's see what they can do. Knights have swollen up. Baltoon behind on the Knight count. Puppy Paw has the lead now. Divine Restoration gets pumped straight away. And remember, this pack's quite the wallop. 100 extra damage per arrow shot means you can easily snipe out any Knight, even a full HP Knight. And I think they've done it. I think they've broken him here. Age 2 on Age 2, no tech required, except for this secret tech. Level 3 Joan. Pushback continues. I mean, Knights are still alive for Baltoon, but he's not really in a position where he can hold the front line anymore. The effective HP is just too high for Puppy Paw. The Chiganu mass way too small here. This is the turning point. And now, Nams and Baltoon, I don't think you can even just try to reboom. You need an out. One of you needs to contemplate teching at this stage. It's difficult though, right? Like if you don't remass somewhat of an army, you're gonna be in trouble. And oh no. Oh. Sometimes retreating is the worst thing you can do. Oh, that's so cursed. I can't believe that. I would be tilted if I was Baltoon. I can't believe that's open. Pressure continues. And Joan, she's doing pretty well. She's vibing, mate. Look at that. 650 XP of the required 1500. At this rate, she will get level 4 while everyone is still at Age 2. If Baltoon and Nams come for another fight, I believe they are getting ready for exactly that. Baltoon does have the Knight Edge for the time being. Warman a little bit slow on the reaction here. Oh, Warman. That's an expensive fight. I mean, he didn't even get extra XP out of that, so you can't even argue it was worth that way. They've got a second assault coming in, though. They're now looking towards Nams' Meditation Garden. Oy, oy. Well, keep in mind, the coolest thing Puppy Paw could do right now is if you can sneak in. Joan is really good at sniping eco, and I don't think it's an underrated player here. They're neck and neck in this game right now. Although that does tell you that there's been some eco losses for Baltoon and Nams. Considering with the French, you should be eco ahead. At least on raw count. That doesn't seem to be the case, not high enough degree anyway. Night clash back and forward here. Chiganu are just trying to target down the infantry unit. Joan has arrived again. I mean, there should just be a voice line for Joan, right? Ooh, XP, me likey. Every time there's a fight, you're smiling. 800 so far. Oh! I'm sorry, what was that about incoming JD nerf? I think incoming Jiganu nerf is more appropriate there. Good God. They stuck her right through the paper shredder. Now, for a moment, it looked like Byzantine and Nams were starting to come back, but we've got a problem, guys. There's a reason why they were able to win that fight. Warman's teching up. Nams is about to mirror this, which is the smart play. It's all about getting the monks out to snatch away relics before the prelates can get them. And in fairness, because of what happened back and forth between Puppypaw and Byzantine, there aren't actually that many knights on the map. So this is a pretty heads-up play coming out from both. The logic is their religious units are less likely to die. Of course, Warman will strike first, so tech up complete. Byzantine now mirroring, and I imagine Puppypaw is probably going to start stockpiling as well, right? No, he goes for more and more knights. He did also, by the way, go pro scouts. We didn't catch that before, but that's kind of cool to see here. It's very subtle as well, by the way, because I don't think Puppypaw added in more scouts. He pretty much just used the one. So what he kind of created here was a consistently balanced dynamic where he's just getting enough food in to keep the villagers working there ad infinitum. Well, or at least until the deer get exhausted. Is everyone but Puppypaw now aged up? Puppypaw's like, I don't need no age 3. I'm already age 3. Jeanette is doing everything I need, baby. She should be back in action soon, actually. Nice micro there. Just 1 or 2 picks really is very important here. You know, Byzantine's going to have the tech edge, but you have the quantity by a landslide. And now it looks like Puppypaw's going to catch up. Last of the food and gold is coming in. Knights, in the meantime, are going to wrap to the west side, just making sure no one's absorbing any resources in that area. In the meantime, Warman is going to be stuck in a 2v1. Oof, she's going to have to back away. But keep in mind, these men-at-arms become a much more lethal threat to the Chiganu mass. Even when you upgrade the Chiganus, Knights should be able to hold that back. Royal Institute is now on the way for Puppypaw. And we have got the static defenses. Outposts are already being garrisoned with relics, so very difficult to dive at this stage. And we have even got some Spring emplacements coming in on a few of these. So not really an attackable location for the Chiganu. They're also a little bit worried because they don't see what we see, right? If they dive in, they always have to be worried that Puppypaw is going to come in behind them and turn it into a wipe. And because you're pretty much mass Chiganu and that's it, you don't have a quick breakout if you go deep in the base, right? Because Warman has walled herself in. These walls can become your crypt. Puppypaw gets found teching though. Oh, wait, what? Yeah, okay, smart choice. Puppypaw realized he just has to complete it now before the Chiganu arrive. Gets the tech up, runs away. That was a very smart choice. Puppypaw, for a moment, it looked like he was going to bail, and it would have cost him dearly. Instead, he makes it to age 3. And now they can get ready to fight. Warman's assistance is going to be required. Army is now coming in for the backstab. Knight count in the meantime for Byzantine looks underwhelming here. Royal Bloodlines, yes, but not much else to work with. Puppypaw just waiting for the veterancy to come in before he strikes. Warman now with the backstab, and that opens the field. Chiganu overextended, the Knights go in. They might actually just end up getting level 4 off this fight. They need to snipe Joan right now. She's a little bit overextended. She does go down, so at least they've cauterized that wound, but it's going to be a hell of a hit elsewhere. Overextension ultimately getting punished here. Chiganu wiped out. Knight count has been decimated. Puppypaw has been reduced too, but he still has a decent amount to work with and now has a very feasible age 4 play on his hands. And what I mean by age 4 is level 4 for Joan. We have to check on the relic situation because that's going to be a big deal here as well. Yet to see a single one coming home for Teal. Meanwhile, when we look across at Warman, she's sitting on what? Probably 2? Might be 3 soon. Looks like they have indeed found Puppypaw down here. Has got the outpost up though. So I love the fact he sticks a knight inside as well, because he realizes he can't win that fight. And we see that ultimate punishment again, right? Whenever you have to run away with Teal's army. Knights chase you down, men-at-arms chase you down, everything chases you down. The deletion on the wall from Baltu to try and save the day, but the body blocks! Puppy Paw prevents a clean escape here. Heavy losses now for Nams. And this game really beginning to snowball. I can't believe that. For a moment, it looked like Baltu and Nams were going to find that punishing moment. But now the military numbers tell the true tale. 68 to 28. An eco lead has been built up. Baltu has benefited from that TC production rate, but it doesn't feel like it's going to be enough now. And always remember that when you think you've got a better economy, HRE equals 40% better on a lot of their units. Puppy now raiding into the base of the French for the first time this game, properly. I think he had one knight in here earlier. Rams being built up. Warman looking for something a little bit more permanent. Can't believe this knight's just still been standing there this whole time, but that is Royal Bloodlines for you. I think the defense is starting to crumble a bit, right? There's just so many exposure points now for Bounty and Nams to worry about. And Puppy Paw just has so many knights to work with, right? It's 16 to 4. And this might be the hit to the jugular. They get found, both of them gathering on the same gold. Puppy Paw will take no prisoners here. Warman now with the follow-up. Moves in on the Nest of Bees. I mean, a good idea, right? But it's not Clock Tower Nest of Bees. You just don't have that much health. This looks over. It's going to be a 2-0 sweep here. Wait, no, it's game one, right? Yeah, game one. Sorry, we just had a Baltoon series. That's where my brain's going weird. So game one will be going to Puppy Paw and Warman. We at least get bare minimum one more here. We have to see how Baltoon and Nams can strike back. Got my brain for a second there. That was a cool game, though. Is that one uploadable? One second. Is that one uploadable? I think that one, that one felt kind of back and forth. That was pretty cool. Joan really is scary in team games, maybe? Why Zhuji picked over China? So it depends on what your objective is. Zhuji tends to feel better in feudal. China feels better later in the game. But the thing is, you know, in 2v2s, the pressure is so high, especially when there's a Knight Civ, that if you go China, they know what you're up to, right? So they punish the boom. That's one of the big problems. So got at least one more game in that series. Let me pull it up now. We just had Cliffside, right? Yes. So next up, we're going to Gorge, my favorite map. It's French-Japanese versus Rus Byzantines. Interesting comp. How those teams work? So Diogo, the way the teams work is that you basically play a series with... so one of the guys will play with one of the girls, and then it will switch, right? So all the guys play with all the girls and vice versa by the end of the group stage. So you play a best of 3 with one teammate, and then next series rather, you have a different teammate. And then based on the wins and losses, that's how they decide who makes it to the playoffs. Okay. Zinc. Let's get ready to roll across, shall we? Why does it always do that? It always flips them in on the wrong side. Very weird. And well, it's not just you get earlier Chuganu, you end up with more Chuganu, right? The problem is like the idea is usually and what they're meant to do there, it just doesn't work because a lot of these maps it just feels too big. Like this is the map I said it would have been better on because like this is the distance between bases, right? That's much shorter than Cliffside. Much shorter than Cliffside. Ah, thank you for reminding me. It's like this is where I think Juji makes a lot more sense than where we've been seeing it. And some of the Medi Gardens are pretty good, right? But let's get ready to get underway. Game number 2 of this best of 3 between Puppypaw and Warman and Baltoon and Nams. And Baltoon, of course, is going to trust in the French. He tried it in game 1, didn't work out too well. It's back with a vengeance, this time backed up by the boomy Japanese. Interesting Civ choice, actually. One that tends to do better against French than Rus, but definitely has some firepower behind it. The question mark is going to be whether it's enough to overcome the powerhouse that is the Byzantines. Yeah, Warman has pretty much just been doing the same thing every single series, right? HRE into Biz, HRE into Biz, HRE into Biz. I don't think we've seen anything but. So we've seen our strongest hands. As you'd expect in these best of 3s, it's definitely the format you want to take. The question is, if we get a little bit deeper, if we get into a third game, what would we see from her? My instincts say English, but I do wonder if she'd do that in a 2v2 format. It's a little bit different than 1v1s, right? Kremlin's drop blocking farm placements? Slightly. It blocks this layer. There's enough room for groves there. It's actually pretty cool what they're doing. And the deer shoving as well. Okay, dude. This is the Puppypaw we've come to know. We are on 2x speed, by the way. I like to do this in the early game. This is sick, though. So he shoves all the deer in, and this is important because otherwise he'd need the Kremlin to protect his gathering, right? Instead, he now just gets all of his gathering safely underneath the TC and is able to protect the entire Olive Grove area against a potential outpost rush or initial night play coming out from the other side. That's pretty cool. You don't like that? Okay, Fat Blop. You can either survive with 9 fingers. Sorry. You can either survive with 7 fingers or you can die. What's the choice? Because like this is a very big blocker area, right? If you aren't able to get the initial mercs, I think you have a really big issue with Japanese fast castle plus French knights. So like I'm actually okay with this. I like this idea. The only painful part is of course for Puppypaw himself, because now he doesn't get any buffed up wood gathering rate. He's gonna have to build a wooden fortress on the other side. Dude, Puppypaw is just so good at this. Him and Wham, they are the kings of deer pushes here. So I love the fact that Puppypaw is kind of playing support to Warman's idea while then also enabling himself simultaneously. He's done everything he can to protect Warman, which makes sense. She's the front player. She will be attacked first. And then he's guaranteed he has safe economy, so he doesn't have to split his attention between attack and defense later on. First Knight is going to at least come in, so that's going to ruin the plan a little bit. Puppypaw won't be able to get it all the way home, and Baltoon immediately says, no! I mean, in fairness, it had to happen, right? If this guy got away with a double deer shove, honestly, at that stage, the full criticism is on Baltoon and Nams. So they at least blocked some of the value he'd find. But he did get them some of the way back, so they're a little bit clustered up, right, for a snipe later on. It's just not for free. On the side, we have got the first knights arriving, so Puppypaw already looking to stab in here. Nisu as well. Remember, like Rus versus French. French just scale better because they gradually get bigger economy. Nice hit already, though, and ooh, I love that min-max from Puppypaw. Oh, wait, what? That was bugged? Yeah, the knight just didn't attack. That was kind of weird. So he hit the other villager, which wasn't a mistake. He had enough time because the pathing of the injured villager. I feel kind of bad for Puppypaw. He kind of got scammed there. I don't know why. The knight just decided that he was asthmatic and out of breath after 2 swings. Meanwhile, Baltoon going for the Pro Scouts play. So Puppypaw done this last game, but on a delay, just with 1 scout. Whereas Baltoon has gone pretty heavy-handed, up to 4 scouts now, to try and absorb as much food as possible. This is kind of greedy, though, what Baltoon and Nams are doing, right? You know Nams is going tech. We can already see floating gates on the way. And Baltoon is playing a similar level of greed with this type of engagement of the game, right? I think this is very dangerous what they've done, and Puppypaw is exploiting this in a different way. He's getting his own type of greed. I think Warman might be mirroring. Yeah, we've got a double fast castle build coming out from the Northeast team. this doesn't bode well for Baltun and Nams, I don't think. They've got a few problems now, right? Like, Nams can try to get Mount Samurai, but Limitane, you know, can just be masked up. It's not a bad answer. In fact, genuinely, like, Warman has the most boring, one-dimensional and simple strategy ahead. Just build Limitane. Javelins is cool as well, right? Just in case they add in archers, you're basically covering the counter to you. But it also is pretty good against Onimusha, which potentially comes out due to Puppy Paws Night Spam. And yes, guys, get your hunting, get your high trade house numbers in. What's it going to be? From Mr. Baltunage, oh, sorry, not Mr. Baltun, Mr. Puppy Porridge, who has 350. I don't think he can call himself Puppy Paw when he plays the Roost, because they get so much gold. Haha, I'm terrible. I mean, it's not the best bounty now, but it will be fine, guys. Remember, it's not the best bounty because he's 9 minutes in. It's not he's sucking at gathering bounty, it's that it takes time. He has enough food here to get tier 2 bounty easily. Outpost drop. It looks like Warman got very greedy on the flanks here. He's going to get punished for it. Army is at least now arriving. Limitane in a night. Baltun is going to back up because he's looking for the tech up, so he'll come back in onto the lane. Warman needs to be very careful about the way she leans into these greedy type of plays. Puppy, it was 140 exactly. Y'all underestimate the power of the bounty system. Remember, that's tier 1, by the way. Huh? I know. You're like, your jaw has just dropped the floor. Tier 1 still gives that much for that. Not bad. Monastery now on the way, so he's going to be rushed towards the relics. Is Marika doing similar? Yes. Warman is also going for them. Monk's now being queued up. Ooh, Marika making a little bit of a whoopsie there. Limitane out of position, so the javelins do get punished. Love this as well. Nams has gone for a fast castle. They're going to be looking for relics. This is a really cool heads-up play by Puppy Paw. Camping on one of the safest relics. His logic is he's assuming with the first Shinto that his opponent's going to play safe because he has Knight, so he could be guarding the mid-map. Funnily enough, Nams just being very courageous about this and heading into the mid-map is saving them from losing the priest. And we do have Mass Onimusha on the way. That's kind of interesting, actually. Like, Mount Samurai should be able to easily deal with this, but they need a solution to Limitane. The problem is Onimusha aren't a solution to Limitane. I actually feel like what would have made a lot more sense for Nams was to have built into Masumi. It's bad enough that you won't kill Limitane quick, but you also die very quick to javelins because they get bonus damage against Onimusha. So yeah, I'm not a really big fan of what Nams is doing here. I mean, in theory, it's cool for raiding, right? But, like, you've seen the approach that Puppy Paw's taken, for example, and you know how the Byzantines are going to stack up in their own base. Like, these guys are not coming out quickly. I mean, there is at least that one exposure point on the north side, right? But let's say you own a Musha raid there. Good luck. They can just hide in the outpost. I don't know, man. I'm kind of surprised that Nams is so scared of building Yuumi. Yes, I've talked about the issues of playing infantry comps in team games. Yes, you are the back spawning player, meaning you're further away. But Yuumi are fast. Really fast. Their HRE March and Duels level are fast. I actually think it would have been a pretty crafty play here. Like, realistically, the Night Spam, Puppy Paw should already lose to Baltun because of things like Royal Bloodlines, right? Which I think is now getting queued up. Yeah, so that alone should have been a big enough edge that Puppy Paw wouldn't be able to win with just Knights. Looks like Puppy Paw is going to be the one going for the ranged infantry here. Crossbow is now being queued up by him. What do you guys think? We're 12, almost 13 minutes into the game. Baltun and Nams press 1, Puppy Paw and Warman press 2. I like doing these kind of mini games. It's good for the YouTube videos as well. Let people get their predictions in. To me right now, this doesn't really have the semblance of a kill squad from Baltun and Nams. Like, if they could find economy, sure. Like, it's pretty much a raid comp from them. And I think normally in Gorge that would be a really smart choice because normally in Gorge, the enemy civs are kind of extending out into the flanks. A little bit like what Baltun is doing right now. But that's not happening here. mean, we do at least have Kabutoya, so if they can keep finding Poppy Paw out and about, this could work really well. Remember, Kabutoya gives you the buff movement speed when you're in range of an enemy. So yeah, you see them, move quicker for 10 seconds. So not bad for that kind of quick kill and then move away. This is a little bit dicey though. Not the quickest of kills. Does get away just in time. I'm wondering, is Marika going to go for the kite shields this game? I think it's being slept on so far whenever I watched her games, but I actually think it's underrated. Teardrop shields is an incredible ability. 15% movement speed on Varangian is Limitane is no joke. It allows you to just run knights down pretty easily. Like with that base movement speed, when you charge, you can actually outrun knights, which to me is just hella busted. Warrior Monk snatching away now as well. Oh, Baltin? That's not a winning fight. He's lucky he didn't lose more there. A lot of low HP bars, but does get away just in time. Had the second wave been there, I could understand it. In fact, now one might be overextended. She goes in anyway. Tries to hit into it. Baltin just moves past onto the back line to get rid of those javelins quicker. Good mop up. Expensive, though, on both sides, right? That initial clash meant that Baltin took a lot of damage. So although it's a winning fight for him, probably a few more casualties than necessary there. And that's important when you look at this detail, right? Poppy Paw and Baltin is a race between the two. Meanwhile, Nams, we've got a switch up. She's actually looking to shift over to Onobigisha. That's a pretty smart choice when you're considering what Warman's building. Like mass spears, you shouldn't really be building Cav anyway. And the javelins as well. Like Onobigisha is going to be the ultimate counter to a lot. Actually, pretty much everything Warman's doing right now. So if she doesn't sniff this out and transition into Varangian, she's in trouble. But apparently, she's all too aware. Immediately starts to queue up the heavily armored boys. Kind of awkward, though. I think you have to add Limitane and Varangian. Otherwise, the French Knights just kind of win. Walls are up now. Baltin and Lambs kind of divided the workload, but then Baltin decided he wanted to expand, so he's looking to secure that east side. Kind of interesting as well. Does he not know about... Ah, that's so unfortunate. Yeah, remember, he went for Pro Scouts. That's 2,450 food that he's just missing out on right now. And we have got Pro Scouts now from Poppy Paw, so notice he takes a much more delayed approach. 2 TC as well. They're hunkering down. They're trying to play more of a macro game now. So this does put the ball in the court of Nams and Baltin. Nams is prepping for that big punch with the mass Onobigisha. However, mangoes have been prepped. And another problem of mass Onobigisha is diving Byzantine defenses. It's Mangonel towers, right? You've got real Mangonels, then you've got Mangonel towers. Now, Onobigisha can destroy Mangonels. Mango towers, not so much. What was the final relic grab as well? I'm wondering now. So we have 2 for Poppy Paw, 2 for Warman, and that presumably means, yeah, 3 for Nams. So overall, Lion Share does go the way of the Northside team. Splits between them, though, and this is going to allow you to kind of pump up more mercs, which is important here. If you want to build Varangian, you need to build camels, and a lot of them. Camels are now your MVP against the mass knights. They're also pretty good at holding off Onobigisha. Yes, they don't have any armor to speak of, because you don't have access to that tech right now. But their raw HP is high enough that they absorb a lot of damage. Yeah, remember, guys, if this was a Bastard Camel Riders, there's the camel shielding you can get, which gives you +3 melee. If you get that, Onobigisha just tickle. But even without it, like, this is more about dealing with the knights. And by going for Camel Riders, you can afford to start building Varangian. Let's see more 2TC playing 2v2s. There you go. Your wish is my command. Second TC for the Japanese. I mean, you can do TTC, but typically it needs to be on a delay. There aren't many maps that allow you to get away with it, because we mentioned this in a previous game. When you go 2TC, you've pretty much abandoned your teammate on an island surrounded by sharks. right? Because if you go 2TC and the other team goes 2-player all-in, your teammate's going to die or you're going to die, right? Because you're just not investing into military. That's an interesting discombobulated system from Warman. It's funny as well, because like ideally you get one out here to bridge the gap on the way across. She almost has the stone for it as well. It seems she wants more mango towers. Clash coming in. These outposts are a nuisance. The crossbow mass starting to build out. The mango shots coming over the tree line as well. No Musha about to be Ona Smushta. Bugisha trying to get around the flank. Crossbow mass has the perfect target though. You need to be absorbing these blows with the Ona Bugisha, but unable to do so. Puppy Port and Warman have the numbers on their side and will now be able to push this back. Byzantine and Nams, you see what's happening here. Byzantine is just trying to cover the retreat. Realistically, with mass Ona Bugisha, the one upside is you are very good at running away. That's the only upside you've got right now though. What a play. Allowing them to kind of brute force their way into those static defenses, getting that defensive chokehold, ensuring there's no sort of concave surround where Ona Bugisha can maybe leak around on the flanks there, and even getting a few mango shots in for good measure. Now keep drop in the center of the map as well. Puppy Pool looking to secure the direct route towards the enemy base. Things a little bit slow to show up here. Kind of the issue when you're running infantry. This is the awkward thing though, like Byzantine and Nams, the entire strategy in this game has revolved around the idea of mobilize, mobilize, mobilize. And that's great. That was great when Puppy Paw and Warman were staying in the base, they weren't coming out, but it also isn't great because they're staying in their base, they're not coming out. You have mobility, but if there's nothing to attack, you get no advantage from that mobility. And now, on the flip side, the static comp looks much more dominant because although it's going to take longer to reach the enemy base, when you arrive, it's going to be a massacre. A few villagers at least get chopped down the front side, but the keeper, there's no easy way to brute force this. Another castle now being dropped as they extend ever closer, and I imagine we're going to be looking at a siege workshop into Trebs behind this from Puppy Paw. Perfectly positioned to start taking down, tearing down Baltun's forward base. First Treb is queued up. There it is. Coming a long way, though. Not being built out of a forward siege workshop. I'm expecting that to maybe change soon. How does Baltun and Nams now win this? This is tough. I think the biggest part that makes this tough is we're past the period where French feels overwhelmingly powerful. French needs to change their unit comp. Ona Bugisha is fine, but if it's Ona Bugisha and Knights, you're never winning this. You actually need Arbitrier. Mass Arbitrier at that. Instead, Baltun is just looking to queue up even more Knights. He can't even get the keep online, though. The dive comes in. These choke points are actually perfect as well. Puppy Paw can just park his mass crossbows inside them, and the Ona Bugisha can't do enough. Camera is maybe a little bit too divey here. Keep is going to get cancelled. And the dive continues. I think this is starting to look like a bit of a death spiral. Crossbows are starting to move in range here. A good initial fight for Baltun and Nams as they peel off some of the melee units, but with the castle defense behind this, more melee units on the way, it just feels like Nams and Baltun's numbers aren't going up quick enough here. Warman says, let's fight. We really need to stop A-clicking the buildings though, lads. Come on. Our military lead has actually shrunk a little bit. However, oh no. The villagers. The eco was about to inflate, guys. Trade had just begun, and now this hit on the backside costs a bunch of villagers to offset any advantage there. Meanwhile, Baltun's base is still fully under siege. He's having to react with the Knights now. Charge at least going to come in. That'll force Puppy Paw away, but remember, cavalry and cavalry is just run. You're still losing the main. Trebuchets are starting to arrive here. And I think we are just looking at a downward slope trajectory now for Baltun. Nams is going to have to mount a defense, but with 35 Bugisha, I'm not impressed here. Especially when they get bogged down on a single Varangian every time. More buildings falling. I mean, the other problem I'm seeing is Nams is transitioning to Samurai, which crossbows just eat up, right? You're just enabling Puppy Paw's comp more instead of countering him. I think in hindsight, what they really needed here was a Mango play. Instead, they were so focused on dealing with the siege on the other side, they opened with Springles first, and that means that Puppy Paw can now just keep that edge in anti-siege, and only really have one Mango, sure, but one Mango is good enough. Baltoon's base about to be on fire. He's like, it's fine, guys. Queue up more traders. For good reason. 86 resources. Love the fact that Baltoon done this, by the way. He didn't just lead them on gold. He actually has them on food. A-click buildings doesn't work like that anymore. I'm pretty sure it works like that if there's nothing else in range, right? So, for example, when Puppy Paw was standing here and the enemy was here, his A-click would attack the stables instead of running by. To my understanding, the A-click change was that basically if you A-click here, it wouldn't attack the stables for some of these guys. It'll always attack these now. But if the A-click is here, they will stop and attack these, not move over here because there's units here. So yeah, it was still a lot of wasted firepower. It just doesn't matter though. Mango finally comes out. And Puppy Paw is going to lose a decent chunk of crossbows for it. Psych. But at this point, it's 120 military to 30. We have got some cute raid attempts coming in from Baltoon. I love the fact that he's at least trying to disrupt the economy, but I think this is too late. Had this happened a few minutes ago, maybe. But Puppy Paw and Warman are at a point where they can afford to lose 20% of their economy and still be ahead. Especially with how much the enemy base they're now deleting. Unless Nams has some insane recovery in mind, I think this one is done. And considering Nams doesn't have that many farms, doesn't have the Shogunate, doesn't have Age 4 on the way, I don't think she has an ace up her sleeve here. So that means that Puppy Paw and Warman are going to take it. I mean, Baltoon, I think he's had mixed results in this group stage, right? Kind of rough for him. He would have been one of my favorites to make it out. But I don't think that's the way this is played out. I'm actually double checking his scoring now. His in particular. Because I'm pretty sure Baltoon... Ouch. No, I don't think he's going to be proceeding here. And it's kind of tough, right? You're in a group with Puppy Paw and Marine Lord. We said we favored him as one of the team players, but, you know, I think someone that has especially made Puppy Paw scary is he's had this very different approach where he doesn't just rely on mass knights to just win games. We've seen he can do that with the likes of the Zhone faction, right? But I feel like when I've seen a lot of other people playing Roos, they just try to mass knights, and that's pretty much the game plan. Whereas Puppy Paw was a little bit more diverse in his approach. Things are leaking over now. Trade's about to be shut down. I think we're going to hit the speed up here because this one is very clearly done. They're just going through the motions. Understandably, this is basically the last game of the series. So you got to have that never give up, never surrender mentality. But I think it's about time to surrender. It's just pretty much Puppy Paw brute forcing the center right now. Love the fact that Warman has been going on the flanks just to shut down any sort of sneaky eco. Because now Puppy Paw's at a point where he can basically 2v1. Oh, final push coming in. It's going to be a landmark victory at this rate. Mango hits from the backside. Not as effective against the Samurai, but the crossbow mass is holding on. And that's what matters most. Warman, also now re-arriving. What could they have done different here? I think maybe Arbitrary was the way to go. Get some siege earlier on. Actually, no, it feels even simpler than that. I just didn't like the Onimusha choice. I think Yumi was the winning unit here. People don't want to admit it, but Yumi and Castle Age is scary, man. And I think Yumi and Castle Age, with the way that Warman and Puppy Paw opened up, would have been a firm shot at the door upon them. An inability to move out the map. And maybe a game 3 in this series. But instead, it is going to be a 2-0 for Puppy Paw and Warman. Answer is always Yuumi. Damn straight. Yumi's still the most slept on unit in the game. Whoop, whoop. Not sure that one's really uploadable. Okay, what do you think, guys? More of the Tournament 2v2 series, or we could do some Age of Myth. Choices. Choices. Here's my Magic free stream. Dude, maybe we do some HOM when the new one comes out. You guys heard about this? Have I got any HOM fans in the chat? There's a new Heroes of Might and Magic game coming, apparently. Remember when this is a Deadlock stream? Soon. Dude, I need a new PC. Like, I mean, Faye, if you or someone else has a contact at some of these PC hardware companies, whether it's like a PC builder or like, you know, the ones that make GPUs or CPUs or something, hook me up and then we'll do some Deadlock. My PC is not good enough to stream Deadlock. It's very big Sag. But there is a new Heroes of Might and Magic coming. I'm trying to find it now. Is it Heroes of Might and Magic 8? I think. Olden Era. Yeah, it's called Olden Era. So here you go, guys. I'll quickly show this to you. So, there is a new HOM game on the way. I was made aware of this in the middle of a Stormgate tournament, funnily enough. I was like, huh? Someone who follows Stormgate loves HOM as well, and they'd let me know. So yeah, look. It's... I'm not sure how I feel about the art style right now. It's really weird. I don't think it has enough depth. I want to say it feels like... Okay, the cities look sick. I will give... That city design looks sick, right? I think the overmap, though, looks like a worse version of what Songs of Conquest does. And it's because Songs of Conquest... I think I prefer this art style, but Songs of Conquest uses shading better. You use a 4090? Yeah, give me that. I think they need better shading. But this is being made by so obviously Ubisoft endorsed, but it's made by Unfrozen, who are a developer who I think they've only made one other game. Oh, I didn't realize they were those guys. These are the ones that made the Darkest Dungeon similar game. The very Darkest Dungeon-esque one. I don't know if it's AI art as much as it is just the weird art style they like. But yeah, like, I'm kind of intrigued because it is Heroes of Might and Magic in the style of the old Heroes of Might and Magic. I'm not sure if it's going to be as well received, though. I don't know. Like, so maybe call me old school. Maybe there's something wrong with me. But I legit think that this art style looks better than that art style. I think their cities look better. Their cities look much better. But the overmap, I kind of prefer that. It's cleaner, right? Like, it's very kind of pixely, old school arty, but I think it's well done in that regard. Like, some things look a little bit better here. Like, the city compared to the texture design there, yeah. But, like, everything is much clearer on this than this. So, yeah, curious to see how that one's going to work out. Hi, YouTube! So, I believe we have an Anatan versus Kiljadi series we can have a look at. So, let me grab that next. Actually, do you guys want 2v2s or 1v1s? If it's 1v1s, it's going to be from the ladder. Keep that in mind. So that would be the balance. Is like the 2v2s are tournament stuff. The 1v1s would be ladder gameplay. What do people want? Looks like 2005. Dude, I kind of remember that, right? I feel like that was the downfall of RTSs is when it's the early 2000s. And some people are like, what? But StarCraft came out in Warcraft. But like a lot of the art styles around there was like when they were trying to convert to 2v2 to 2D from 2D to 3D, it looked really ugly. I remember highlighting this like years later. It's like, you know, Stronghold aged better than a lot of those games because of the Cossacks like even aged better than a lot of those early 3D games. So let's see. We'll get the Anatan series going. Let's have a look. Man, where's my Voldemar to organize some midweek series when we need him? So we've got Anatan versus Killjadi. We didn't watch Anatan versus Killjadi, right, guys? I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure we didn't. Holy crap, it's so hot. All right, let's get that game open. Need to wait for it to load so I can hide any spoilers from you guys. Whew. Oh my god, dude. Can summer finish already? I thank you very much. I would very much love for summer to finish already. Oh nice, we get some Himiyama. I mean, that's a pleasant difference. But yeah, I do want to start like streaming gameplay, right? I want to start like doing some challenges and showing off some things. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but I mean, I'm just gonna say I'm one of the best Kelvins in Deadlock. But yeah, no, not with my current PC's performance. I don't want to be. I've been trying to play Pocket, which is for Dota 2 people like Puck. I don't know what the league comparison would be. Basically, a very evasive, like very elusive hero, and it's like it's very hard when your frame rate just crashes all the time. Wait, Faye, why are you moaning about Kelvin? Don't you play Great Talon? Get out of here. 80% slow? Yeah, dude, it's not instant 80% though. I have to work for that crap. I have to aim. Okay, I'm gonna call it. Faye is a Vindicta main. Am I right? You're a Goo main. Oh, I see. Wow. How original of you to just follow the patch buffs. Wow. I bet you definitely resisted the temptation to spam HRE when they got buffed, Faye. Look how she changes. She's like Magadai when she plays RTSs and then when she switches over to Deadlock. Didn't Goo just get nerfed? Yeah, after getting ridiculously buffed. Come on. You don't win this argument. Even after the nerfs, Goo is still buffed, man. Viscous, I was playing against a Viscous last night, and my teammate was like, he just punched me for 1,000 damage. I'm like, what? Do you know the amount of items I have to build to kill, like, hit you for 1,000 damage with the beam? And how long it takes? That crap is broken, man. Now, I think I've been playing mostly Kelvin, Pocket, a Bebopper, like my prio picks. Warden feels really crap now early game. They definitely crippled Warden a lot. For those that are wanting my opinion on Deadlock, if you pick Haze, you're dead to me. I have yet to have a single Haze be useful in a game of Deadlock. Little tip for Haze mains, your goal is to actually just leave the fights alone and farm for the first 15 minutes and then come in with like the suppressor and a few other really strong items and win. Please don't show up before you are almost 6-slot. Thank you. All right, let's get ready to go. It's time for more of the team competitive action. One and all, welcome back to Empire Duels, the $2,000 tournament component of this $5,000 tournament where we mix up the lads and ladettes. On the west side, or actually south side in the situation, we're going to have Nostromia in the purple playing as the Delhi, teamed up with Killjadi playing as the Byzantines in the purple. To the north, it is going to be Deep Shine in the orange as the English, and they're going to be partnered up with My Insanity's Anatan playing as the Ayabids in this game. And we've got some growth wing play. We're going to hit the 2x speed. You know me, I like the 2x for the early game. I just realized the UI, weirdly enough, disappears. Let's get that back up. And yeah, I quite like the idea of like Iabids in these 2v2s. I don't think we've seen them hit their full potential, but this is pretty cool. We've got Growth Wing, which shows you that Anatan understands he needs to be present this age. And we are actually going to have some boat-on-boat play, but no! Anatan! Oh, dude, you cannot do this against Delhi. Anatan, I don't think he scouted the dock drop coming in. So just like that, Anatan just lost a third of the value of his Growth Wing tech-up choice. Damn. Nostromo is vibing right now. This is a great start for the Southside team. On land, we have got the first Lombos coming out. I'm going to slow this down a little bit now. Outposts are going up, and this is a good reason. You don't want to directly contest the Lombos straight away. You need static defenses. Because if you can't get this olive oil, you can't even get your Lombos out in the first place. But love the idea of Lombos here, right? Like, some people say go Javelin in the situation. I think Lombo works better. The reason is that if you go Javelins, your opponent with Council Hall can just outmass you and kill jabs, even with Lombos. On top of that, you have batch production advantage, right? Like, your opponent is trickling troops right now, and you're just going to birth 5 of them in the next 45 seconds. Apologies about the UI. I can't do anything about this. Shout out to the community for creating a team UI. It may not be perfect, but my god, thank god we have something. Weird that Microsoft aren't the ones providing that. The Mitane are kind of surprisingly tanky, right? You always have to remember they have 10 extra health. On top of that, ranged armor is a thing. A bloody strong thing as well. You see why English can be so annoying for the Byzantines, right? When they play aggro, it's kind of interesting, right? Because whenever we watch 1v1s, English never play aggro. They always go for the Abbey of Kings and then just hunker down. I'm wondering if it's time to revisit that idea of Lombo spamming in 1v1s. Probably not. The reason why not is, like, the reason this looks so good right now is because there is a risk cavalry you're seeing him produce into Limitane. In a 1v1 against English, you'll very happily, as Byzantines, just build Lombos from your mercs and then just spam Horsemen. It's a really strong 1-2 punch. I think Recon was the first player to discover that earlier this year, and then people like Beasty started trying it out and trying to perfect the build and discovered it's insanely powerful. So what do you guys think? One's if you believe Nostromo and Kiljadi are going to take this one. Two's if you think it's Deep Shine and Anatand. I'm going to hit the fast forward because we haven't got any like big major pressure coming in. We have got a tech on the way from Anno though, right? He must be going soon. Yeah, the timings I know well. Advancement Wing now on the way for red. So this is about getting that Camel Lancer pump going, but Limitane have already been prepped for that very reason. It's a little bit harder for Nostromia. They're just massing Ghazi. Ghazi are going to have a hard time against Camel Lancers. You get enough of them in theory, right? But you have to be able to get enough on board. I think the best thing you can do if you're Nostromia is go after Deep Shine. Deep Shine has nothing but Lombos right now. They left themselves very exposed in that regard. Instead, it looks like they're trying to punish the booming player. Knowing that Anatan is trying to tech up, they're looking to block him entirely. Gold gathering not feasible right now. And Anatan, is this an Archer transition? No, because he's got 3 stables, but the problem is he doesn't have any gold gathering going on right now, so kind of limited on what he can grab here. Does queue up 3 Camel Lancers, but now needs to find more gold access ASAP. In the meantime, Deep Shine tries to protect their teammate, and he's going to be punished for it. The other problem right now is Deep Shine is just A-clicking back. They're not targeting the Limitane, which means that the Ghazi are serving their full and intended purpose. Hey, Frey. Yeah, you playing outside? Go play outside then, darling. Good girl. Yeah, play. Bye. I know, that was the best commentary you've ever heard me give over Age of Empires 4 action. Antan's in a bit of a pickle here, guys. He's throwing way too much food. He's going to have to sell for gold. No, yeah, I think he just did as well. Kind of problematic. The Camel Lance count really isn't there. Remember, Lombos are a premium range unit. They have an extra +1 damage compared to normal archers, which means that they do scale a little bit better than mass archers wood into Camel Lancers here. And Anatan can't really afford to go ranged armor 2 because that also requires gold that he is now not accessing. This is pretty rural. Behind this, I don't think there's any tech plans immediately, right? Nostromi is not saving up. Killjadi's not stockpiling either. They're realizing that Deep Shine's kind of a non-factor right now after they threw away all those Lombos. So instead, they just keep focusing on Anatan. This is not looking good. Nostromi, in the meantime, is going to start wrapping around the back. That's a lot of Ghazi. Textiles is at least in, so Anatan did have the foresight to realize this was coming. Instead, looks like they're going to be dialing back. Yeah, kind of awkward. The Camel Lancers need to really just be fighting the Ghazi. It's your perfect target. Sure, Ghazi gets some bonus damage against heavy, but if the choice is running into Limitano or running to Ghazi, I think the choice is quite obvious. Carry Siphon. Now actually hanging on to the houses, so Anatan, he's not going to get pop locked anytime soon. I guess this is one of the positives doing Camel Lancers. I think in hindsight, though, like this is a classic example where Gulems probably would have felt better. It feels bad because you're playing a 2v2 map, so it makes it less feasible, but you would have at least had the mass together. Right, Anatan is just completely poor at this stage. Deep Shine at least is able to sneak the army into his base. I think this is probably where you're going to see Killjadi start to go for age 3. He's got a few more Lombos in queue. That's always going to happen. Spearman count isn't really scaling too fast, though. And it's because he doesn't really need to. They do, however, need to stop this right now. Anatan snuck out into the gold. They don't seem aware of it. Instead, they seem to be pivoting towards orange. Alright, I don't think this game is over yet, guys. They're a little bit too bogged down, which means Anatan is going to be able to scale into more units here. Nostromi, interestingly enough, is the one saving up quite a pretty penny here. And I'm a little bit perplexed by that. I don't think it's her goal to reach age 3. It should be Killjadi's. I mean, she did go for Dome of Faith, right? So, like, scaling archers isn't really viable here. Not desirable, at least. We do at least have Pro Scouts coming in, so they're absorbing food off the map. And they're still keeping Deep Shine down in the mud, right? Military lead is substantial at this stage. And looks like we actually have a few Ghazi discovering what's going on over here. The villagers are in a little bit of trouble. A few are going to go down, but due to the textiles and so many of them being here, they should be able to hold this back. Okay, so we actually have a game on our hands. All of a sudden, it's the type of game where, you know, you want to press 1 for Nostromo and Killjadi, 2 for Deep Shine and Anatan, because I think this one genuinely now feels like a, I don't want to say a direct 50-50 split. It's pretty tight, though. In fact, it might even be leaning in favor of Anatan now. I mean, they didn't prep themselves for this tech choice still. Nostromo is close to hitting the trigger. I think you go House of Learning here, right? House of Learning into Elephanto Funtime is kind of sick. It's a very big map, but if you're ever able to justify it and get across it, it's pretty brutal to deal with. I mean, hell, even if you just decide to go Lancers, the interesting thing about going Lancers is you're able to offset most of the damage reduction from Camelanese by having Honed Blades, which makes it a bit more justifiable. Other side of the map, Deep Shine, I don't think they're ready for it yet. There we go, tech's now coming. Food and gold about to be gathered up, so we're probably going to be looking at a King's Palace build here. There's no pressure coming towards their base, so they can kind of get away with a more greedy option. Well, there's greedy and then there's insanely greedy. That is a wide King's Palace. But a lot of late game secured with this, right? The gold, the wood. This kind of hooks you up to an IV drip and starts to power you forward. Killjadi on the other side, yet to pull the trigger himself. Does he know? There isn't any reason he should know. I think it's more about wood. You know, either your opponent went to the backwoods or they're playing aggressive woods. And you can only really check one of them. And the time might be perfect. Oh my god, Deep Shine! Had to cancel the King's Palace here. I think the bigger deal is just the gold, right? That's exactly what Killjadi was coming over here for. Just to check the gold. I don't think he realizes just what a jackpot he hit there. The intent definitely wasn't to find a landmark. The intent was to stop a tech up, by hobbling the gold. And now, as a result of that, we can actually see Kiljadi will be able to catch up. Golden Horn Tower now on the way on the front line. Awkward situation. This should have been a tech advantage for the English. But now, because you're mirroring the timing, it's actually favoring Byzantines due to Dialecticus. They can tech faster. Camel Lancer is at least going to delay things a bit. But we'll get pinched. The rest of the Camel Lancers seem to be hunting into Nostromia's base. Nostromia, who has Lancers on the way, so no Elephantos coming. A very early Wololo, well played there, will actually just push Anatan away. I think those type of Wololos are really underrated, by the way. It's not about getting any conversions. It's simply about pushing an attack away so you don't miss your timing. Remember, it takes a very long time to scale Lancers, even with Scholars inside. So you have to buy that time. I think we're now also going to get crossbows added in for the Delhi. Looking at the relic situation, Anatan has one on his side, a second one nearby. Probably a 3 relic game for him, maybe a 4 relic game. Meanwhile, Nostromia has 1 garrisoned. I'd expect this to be like a 2 or 3 split for them as well, though. Ah, Kiljadi. He knew exactly what Anatan was up to. Well played, my friend. That's pretty annoying for Anatan as well, because he went up to 4 dervishes, so you kind of have to justify it by getting a majority of relics here. Camel Lancers, in the meantime, are going to have to back away. It looks like Deep Shine is going to have to go back to just sitting in Anatan's base, and I don't like this. I get that they don't have the walls up yet, but you've just seen both enemy armies on the east side. This would have been the perfect time to hit into the base of the Byzantines. Instead, they're just going to try to mirror move across the map and then defend Anatan, but the delay upon arrival means that Anatan is going to have to forfeit some territory here. Kind of awkward as well. Remember, the gold he needs now is here and beyond. He already exhausted the 4K at the back. Right now, he's stealing what little his teammate has. Flash is going to come in. Limitane follow up on the way. And Lancers need to get the hell out of here. These fights don't feel comfortable at all. You can see the clash coming in. The archer spam from Kiljadi haven't been upgraded yet, so they're going to be Dovo, and Anatan gets the right read here. The greed of Kiljadi. Just this overextension with the Limitane means he's going to lose his entire army. Anatan and Deepshine able to push it back again. Meanwhile, the cavalry battalion from Nostromia don't really have any clear targets here. All right, guys, this is kind of swinging a little bit now. Deepshine and Anatan, they've both got 2 TC, right? So they're going to build an eco lead here. They've got the majority of relics on their side. They've got the better army. Nostromia and Kiljadi have problems. They're at least alleviating some of them. Kiljadi is now walling off the west side. The east side is still kind of open, though, and I'd love to see orange and red now just converge on purple's base. Purple, who, by the way, while playing Delhi, yes, you're seeing that correctly. Try not to scream internally too hard. They are indeed building a second TC. You know what the team meta is meant to be when even Delhi have to indulge 2 TC. Kind of interesting map to have picked Delhi on as well. I mean, they definitely found some value in that early game from the fishing boat play, right? But usually you expect to see Delhi on free Sacred Site maps. I think it's a little bit different in team games just because it's much harder to hold free Sacred Sites against 2 players, right? You split a bit too thin and then they just all in on one, you're just going to lose every day. So yeah, that has been a recurring theme. I think we've seen 1 or 2 games where people try to play for Sacred Site control, most notably Cliffside. But even there, a map where it's desirable, you just see how difficult it is to hold on. I think that's why Himayama, you just see it ignored. That's Lombos and Camel Lancers now in position. We do not see a ranged armor level 2 yet coming in from Nostromia. They do not have pegs either. So those crossbows lacking the extra range. Yeah, I don't like this right now for Nostromia. They're kind of on an island and they need assistance. Instead, Kiljadi is looking to raid. Oh, the timing, Deep Shine. Last second tries to get out, but it seems Kiljadi's aware. There is a long way out here, but it is a little bit dicey. So Anno and Deep Shine are kind of out of their base now, right? But they do need to start finding targets. The problem is Deep Shine doesn't have an easy ability. Their army's too slow. So it really is on Anatan to just find raid potential here. We'll be able to idle out the back row farms. Even kill a few villagers on the way through. That is an eco lead now starting to rear its ugly head here, right? It's almost 20 up for Deep Shine and Anatan. And there is at least 2 TC now from Kiljadi as well as Nostromia, right? So they are at least going to offset any escalation to this detail. But it is still a remaining issue in this game. I think Deep Shine and Anatan should in theory have this, right? The only thing that scares me, and he's fixing that now, is I think Anatan's army was a little bit too one-dimensional on Camel Lancers, but he's shifting over. So we've got crossbow archers getting added in now. They probably need Deep Shine to go full men-at-arms now, otherwise they have a crippling weakness of no front line. And we now have the War Elephants, and this is why I want him off Camel Lancers. These guys counter cavalry hard. Everyone's been blabbing about this AoE splash damage to Tusk. I'm more focused on the 66 damage against cavalry every 2 seconds on an 850 HP unit. Knock, knock, mother duckers. It's Elephanto fun time. Archers also find the economy. Good raid by Kiljadi. Yeah, you can't even counter-attack this, right? It's just too many lombos, so has to shift away. That's blocking the wood gathering, which is problematic as Deep Shine. I think wanted to get into more farms soon. Now we see a dive into Anatan's base again. This has been non-stop pressure onto Anatan. Elephants. Not even attacking, by the way. A little bit of a misclick there. If Nostromia had attacked straight away, there'd already be 4 dead Camel Lancers before things really began to get heated up. But now that they have heated up in the kitchen, Anatan is getting cooked. Oh, this is problematic, man. It's such a great read. The issue is Deep Shine's army is really slow. Men-at-arms and Lombos, the slowest infantry units you can build here, right? So by going after Anatan, they remove the opponent who can react quicker with camels, with archers. And it means that they're essentially getting a 2v1 into a 2v1. Ironically, while fielding very slow war elephants themselves. Kind of makes you wish you now had spears as well, considering your opponent's got mass crossbows and mass elephants. It's like Deep Shine is going to try to get vengeance here. Anatan's army pretty much fully depleted at this stage. It's pretty much all Deep Shine trying to back this up with some power. You see the way that they're now just punishing Anno, looking for the economy as well. Wave 1 is going to get mopped up, but the amount of map control that gets forfeited here, right? The pressure release and the fact that you went from having, like, what was it, 20 eco lead to now less than 10 between you. It's a problem here. Daddy's coming. At a time with a second wall here. Fearing for his life for good reason. Yeah, mass men-at-arms isn't the cleanest way of dealing with these elephants, but it works, right? Like, it's just quantity over quality. I do feel like Nostromia has been misusing these elephants a bit. We saw it earlier when they just didn't attack. That time was weird as well. They're never getting out, so don't even try to run them, right? Just attack back, do some damage, move on to the next step of the draft. Kiljadi is now moving on that next step. I actually feel really bad for Deep Shine and Anatan. Like, in theory, you can see the power of their army, right? But they never get to use it because you keep seeing this back and forth. Nostromia and Kiljadi attack Anatan. Then Kiljadi attacks Deep Shine. Every time, they're just dodging this big, bulky army that the English have built up. Oh, the diving's coming in. This is not a fast keep, folks. And I don't know if it's going to be a successful one. Lanceneck in the mix means that Deep Shine has to bail on the castle drop. Now they're marching forward, looking for a counterattack on Nostromia here. Nostromia would really benefit from getting a siege workshop down, just pumping out 1 or 2 mangoes, but no sign of that coming. More village is being pulled. No, 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 no. Surely not. The Lanceneck sweep's coming in. This is going to be tight. The keep is not going up. Deep Shine, 99% on the keep. The salami slicer boys at the very last moment ruining her plan here. And Deep Shine now has even bigger problems. Their military mass is not here. It's on the other side of the map. They realistically have next to nothing to defend against Killjadi's attack into the base. And Nostromia is buying enough time over here. Look at these elephants go. Oh my god. Anatan completely bailed and dove a keep instead. He didn't even stop it going up. There's a second keep here as well. Nostromia has got that defensive lineup. Anatan is scrambling, flailing like a fish to try and find a way through. Splashing like a Magikarp. Seems appropriate that he's wearing the red. In the meantime, the elephants are having a field day with the Lombos left over. Killjadi is now wrapping around again. This time, Deep Shine will get the castle up. But at this point, control of the game has been given over. Behind this, Anatan hasn't really completed a farm transition, right? He's probably about, what, 15 deep? Okay, no, my mistake. He is good. He's 36 deep. They've been creeped over here and here. So that's at least complete for him. Byzantine 1 is pretty much ticked as well. It's free TC from Killjadi now. This greedy son of a gun. And now, despite all that pressure coming Nostromia's way, they're able to afford Imperial Edge. By God, I think they've done it. I mean, Anatan already used the advanced wing, right? So he can't rush a tech up. We've got mass farms starting to come in the background. Nostromia is sitting at what? How many farms? 39. They're cozy. They're kushki. And Delhi, you know, we usually don't talk about Delhi in the Imperial Age that much, but they do have some potency there, right? I think War Elephants are going to be effective now, and on top of that, Ghazi have always been this impressive unit. They scale really well population-wise for what they do into Imperial. When you think about how often late game becomes mass horsemen, this is a premium horseman. Killjadi. Wait, did he really... He sat here and built Kyro Ciphers the whole time. Okay. Oh, Deep Shine is going to have to react quick to that, because 3 Kyro Siphons will make quick work of a castle. He's going to dive in now with the men-at-arms. Crossbows are going to try to snipe them down, but this isn't going to work. Killjadi, a cute idea, but he will be repelled. Even Anatan coming over to assist just in case, but that means his base is now open and ripe for the taking. Nostromia on the approach here. Waller Elephant upgrades. Have we got anything queued for them? Because I'm trying to remember. There is something, right? Oh, no, I'm thinking of the Tower Elephants, right? How does this coming in? No, I am right. There is one. The Armored Beast. There we go. So it's 2 minutes out. Do they even have 2 minutes in this game? Palestine scores on the way. Killjadi is about to juice his army as well. And with Dialecticus, those unlocks come in fast for the Byzantines. He already has 2k gold set up exactly for that. He goes straight after the town center. He's immediately trying to force the fight. Elephants need to start engaging here. Keep drop is almost complete. They can set up siege behind this. The elephants are just spooky as all hell for the Camel Lancer mass. Farm's about to get idled up. Good body blocker on the south side here, making sure the Ghazi can't get in. But that has opened the floodgates onto the crossbows. Elephants shift across after the Lancers, and the archers begin to dive in. Once again, where is Deep Shine? I feel like this has been the story of the game. Just manipulating the map, using the English immobility against them. There are people that feel at home on a boat and on an island, but not on the mainlands here. And it's proven to be the undoing. Anatan's army has pretty much been wiped. It is once again about to become a 2 versus 1. And this time around, I think Nostromia and Killjadi might have enough firepower left to just wipe Deep Shine out. Especially with the age-up advantages coming in. Armies are trading about even right now. Reinforcements should be soon to arrive, right? I think we have more troops on the way, and that seems to be it. They don't even want to see what's coming over the hill. GG gets called. An insane back-and-forth game. A game that felt like a moment. Anatan had survived, weathered the storm to come back, but Like a dog with a bone that just won't let go. Time and time again, they put him in an uncomfortable position. Damn. Pretty cool to see. I think that one's uploadable, right? How to win 2v2 amateur slat. Oopsie. Damn it, I can't use a thingy for a tournament. Yeah, like they pretty much just went for the blunt strategy of like just keep attacking the pro as well, right? It's like it was a very nice 1-2 beneficial thing, you know? Oh, one sec. Oh, 1 second. I need to quickly respond to something. So. Whew. All right, there we go. Sorry, guys, just had a message quickly. So, that was only game 1, by the way. We've got another one. Just had to send a message about some tournaments. Whoop, whoop. What the hell? Sorry, I just need to double check a message. Where is it? So I had Himiyama. So next map, we're going to Dry Arabia. Sorry, guys. I've got like 5 dozen things happening in my brain at once. Let's hop in. Make it. Is everything the right way around? Of course it isn't. Oh, dude, it actually always puts them on the wrong side. So, Strongman Killjadi leading. God. All right, there's so much I need to dive into there. Jesus Christ, I'll have to respond to those guys later. They can wait. Sorry, you can hear me typing. It's about the plans. Let's just say I've got something planned to provide some midweek tournament entertainment after Wallalore, guys. Been working hard on it. I do need to, like, I probably need to double check what kind of admin support I'm going to have for it, though, because it could end up being a bloody nightmare. We'll find out, though. I'll lose my hair. Okay. So, let's get to it. Game number 2 between Anatan and Deepshine going up against Nostromia and Killjadi. A lead already developing for Killjadi and Nostromia after an incredible game number 1. We now hop into Comfort Zone Central. I think at this point, this is quickly becoming Anatan's signature civ, the one he looks to fall back on when everything gets a little bit rough, a little bit tough. It's going to be the Chinese in his hands. And Deepshine also playing quite a lot of Marlians from what I've been seeing. But we've seen this, a similar matchup before, right? I think we had this whole idea of like it was Marlians plus Byzantines, both playing more of a greedy defensive format. Because you have to when you're up against this. A double barrel shotgun. French plus English is insanely powerful, especially when you go in, and thank you for reminding me about the minimap, when you go for the Council Hall build, which I'm expecting to see on the way now. So the logic with this is divide and conquer logic. I actually think English-French is one of the really, really, really potent picks you can make. Because what you do is you just build a ball of Lombos and Knights and send them straight down the center to here. You park between the 2 enemy bases and you keep hitting them one by one. This works really well against more boomy, greedy civs. Like Marlian's opening is a bit more greedy and Chinese tends to be more greedy. We have at least got the Barbican coming in, so Anatan's going to sure sign of going into Zhuganu here, but I'm not sure if that's going to work too well against Lombo Knights. It's a little bit scary. I think it really comes down to what choice Deepshine's going to make, what the unit composition is going to be for them. Because in a way, you want to be building javelins against Lombos, right? But if that happens, you're both building rage units. So it's almost like Anatan's just building his Barbican to protect himself, and then he has to go mass spears. And I think that's what makes this comp so scary in 2v2 settings, guys, is mass spears against mass knights makes sense, right? But mass spears against mass knights when there's mass longbows makes your life a living hell. Yeah, I think like this is the El Clasico combo that just feels like almost unbeatable unless you have a really high understanding of the game. Oh, that's sick. Killjadi. He kept charging at the scout to stay in range to kill the sheep. Makes sense. Anatan is kind of broken on Chinese. Most of the time, he gets way too many sheep. This game around, it's only going to be 6. Killjadi, meanwhile, has 19 sheep. He's fully stacked and loaded. Nostromia with just 6 as well. And then finally, only 4 for Deepshine. Deepshine, of course, can replace with Cal. And, of course, Nostromia can fix that issue by going farms. Anatan is the one who will struggle now because of the lack of food. Oh, Raiden. Maybe a bit over-ambitious from Killjadi. I think he jumped the gun a bit there. I wonder, though, he could have made this worthwhile if he saw how many sheep there were with that dive. Because now he'll understand that Anatan has to come out of the base. Or he has to come out and get someone to take back home. Because we've got a pro scouts play out of Anatan. This is really cool to see with China. The reason it's so smart is because of supervision. You can supervise the tech up, so you get it very quickly. On top of that, you can then supervise the scout production to get the numbers together quickly. We're seeing both of those elements here. It's why Anatan was able to creep it in so fast in this second game. Look at that. We talked about pressure switch, right? They're now shifting over towards the base of Deepshine. Deepshine, who is trying to get a healthy composition of ranged and melee. Horseman from Anatan at least going to be a little bit annoying here. Need to be careful. Nostromia really bringing the crown jewel here in the Lombo mass. But what I'd love to see from Anno right now is cutting reinforcements. It's a very long way for Lombos to run here. If he gets a few horsemen in, it's easy peasy pickings, right? 5 hits, Lombo dead. It almost feels like Anatan is too worried about Deepshine's base getting dove, so he's reacting with the horsemen. But I kind of get where he's coming from. I feel like Nostromia is maybe a little bit slow to start getting troops out to defend. But if you're so busy trying to put out the fire in her base, how to put it? It's like you're so focused on extinguishing the fire in one room in the house, you're not realizing the rest of the house is on fire. You know? That's like you're addressing a symptom, not the cause. And the cause is that Lombos are being produced. So love that Anatan is now switching up. He's finally shifting over. And we should start seeing these Lombo numbers getting culled. Really important that you do this as well. Like 18 damage per strike. So actually, sorry, not 5 hits, 4 hits. 4 hits will kill a Lombo. But sadly, at this point, it looks like Killjadi was aware it was coming. He kept 2 knights a little bit further back. He's also got scouts to make sure there's no sort of flank attack coming in case maybe these horsemen go for a raid into Nostromo's base. I think Killjadi is just doing a really good job of controlling map. Like, this is something that Killjadi is renowned for being really good at, is just suffocating the map and making you kind of feel like you're stuck in an island. Definitely feels that way right now. Deep Shine as well. Big heavy hit there. Night Raid as well as Lombos. You just see why this 1-2 hit is so impactful. Horsemen are now going to try to punish it, but with so many knights here, it doesn't feel like a desirable fight for Anatan to ever be a part of. On top of that, yes, he got the undermesh, but Steeled Arrow is already mirrored on the other side by these premium range units. I'm getting a bit worried now. I mean, you could even try to burn through the wall. This looks like Deep Shine also has some idle time here. Villagers just being forgotten about on the wood line. Damn, crazy. Like 3 years later, the classic 2v2 combo is still so brutal. I mean, it makes sense though, right? This is 2 aggro picks against 2 boom picks, right? Like, I don't think you could really describe Mali and Chinese any other way. They are very greedy civs. China is really about eco advantages for the majority of the game, at least in early. And Malians, they build army, but they build army to just stay at home. And I think that's a fundamental flaw with Malians in 2v2s, is if you have a teammate that we can just attack instead, staying at home doesn't work for you, right? And also, because Malians try to layer greed with escalation militarily, they need time, right? If you're against one opponent all in, you kind of get away with it due to defender's advantage. But when it's 2 players sending it on you relentlessly, it's very difficult to get away with building your pet mines, building your ranches, and gradually building into javelins. Raid coming in now into Antan's main. Not exactly the scariest armies either. I mean, the Knights can pretty much brute force the entire wave here if they need to. Lombos are just picking apart anything they can see. At least there's going to be a rebuild around the pit mine on the east side for Deep Shine. His pressure has been relieved there, but this is the problem for me. Everything they're doing right now is reactionary. They're not out on the map. They're not punishing Killjadi for coming for every pocket economy imaginable. Obviously, you can't go after Nostromo, and I think that's another thing that makes the English-French combo so nice, is even if you could go and punish on the map, realistically, you're going to be punishing one player. English are never coming out of their base, because farms are so easy and efficient to set up. All that surplus wood saved while building up those farms. Makes sense that we should be adding in a few rams. Range starting to get hit up pretty hard. Can't really afford to lose any production builders right now. You just don't have critical mass to contest. Looks like Deep Shine is trying to sneak into the back of the base. The correct call, you can't directly approach this army. You need to smuggle your forces in to protect. And you need to kind of hide that they're there, because if it's seen, they can just riposte. They can go and attack Teal instead. I think we got a quick series here, guys. I'm not really seeing the out yet. I mean, the Chiunu mass numbers are building, but 16 to 28. I think the Knights are the scariest detail for me. Like, 30 Lombos can easily take out 13 Donzos, right? And then Knights kind of reign supreme here. And there's that switch over we talked about. They're seeing they're getting no progress here. They immediately go back in. Killjadi can already tell that Deep Shine's not in the base because the Knights have not been reacted to. That means you have to come out those choke points that you covet so dearly with the Javelins and Juganu. Means you're on open field territory, right? Like, if you're in open battleground warfare, Knights win. because you can't use these choke points against them. They get that full surround, that full saturation. Feels like you're just paying the pauper, right? Oh, yes. Yeah, they've come to attack our base again. Let them burn Timothy's house. No one likes Timothy. Timothy's hovel looks like trash anyway. It's ruining our feng shui. I'm sure they'll leave after they've taken everything that Timothy owns. Then the village next door. Ah, yeah, everyone throw Rick underneath the bus. No one likes him. But at the end of the day, there's going to come a point where they're done raiding those pitiful little houses with all the poor people in them. And they start to think about going after the tavern, after the mayor's mansion. And I think we're getting to that point quickly. They're starting to poke in. Lombos continue to just creep up. Deep Chun does at least have gold in reverse, reserve rather. They've got the pit mine behind. We have got gathering on the flank successfully by Anatan. So, they are starting to smuggle economy out and away from the problem. Military numbers are now favoring them. But the quality of the army is the real difference that matters here. These are the premium range unit. These are the premium cavalry. In fact, we're reaching a point where Killjardy could even just contemplate trying to stockpile for a tech up. Royal Bloodlines goes kind of hard in this type of game. Nostromo is actually looking to tech first, though. Check this. Castle Age about to be on the way. A smart choice as well. You got Council Hall. The tech up's going to be fast, right? You get that tech up, all of a sudden, javelins don't counter you. And this is going to be big as well. I can't believe this. They can't do anything about it, though. Outpost on the front side. They don't even know it's happening. If this outpost goes up, which is going to, this fight becomes infinitely harder. In fact, what worries me is when they see this outpost, they see the aura, they won't want to fight. And that means they're going to back up to, say, about here, which means that Nostromia can just tech up. And 30 seconds will pass, veterancy will come in, and at that point, it's GG. There we go. Rams absorbing a lot of the shots from the A-clicks. Oh, that was sick from Nostromia. Look at what's happening right now. Finally, the Knight's going to come in to make it a bit of a better trade for the West Side team, but a lot of Juganu shots just going into those Rams at the start favors the Lombos. And it's at about even on count here, range versus range. King's Pass is on the way behind this, though, and the Knights see an opportunity, an opening to strike there. Deep Shine was a bit too far back with those Spearmen. Now a bit too far back again, leaving the Javelins behind this time. Killjardy just doing a good job of not giving over too many Knights each time he goes in like this. And the Spearmen just keep getting baited out of position, right? Javelin count is just not really impressing me. At 14, it's not enough to break this many Lombos. And Ansan finally able to start cutting reinforcements, so I think this cut comes a little bit too late. As Nostromo and Killjardy going more than a little bit deep. Boy, Donzo is just full on sending it, not ideal either. That aura once again getting activated. I think that was the mistake, is that they're playing on the very edge, essentially baiting a melee unit to come in range. Because the moment they do, this army gets juiced up again. And what a freebie. Knights, they see it happen. It's the peel. It's the split. It's the skull cracker down the center here. As Deep Shine had to pull east, and Anatan went west. Killjardy shows them both what's best. Whew. And that, my friends, looks like a game. Series and a match. Deep Shine really just has nothing left to stand on here. They were actually macroing for Castle for quite a while. Then they had to pull away from it entirely. We're now going to see Knights raiding onto the backside to find the villages of Anatan. No quick reaction coming in. Finally is going to seek some shelter. But it's going to come at a price here. We're now talking about almost a 30 villager lead for the East Side team. Whew. I don't see the way now. Killjardy's probably going to tech up next. He's still got a hell of a lot of Knights. 26 in the field to play with. Won't be able to find any economy to snipe out here, as that's already shifted away. He doesn't really need to. They have full control. They are control. Nostromia is looking to make that control permanent. Deep Shine about to feel even more pressure coming to the base soon. Yeah, I don't know. I think China, like, I said I usually don't like Zhu Ji, but maybe Zhu Ji would have worked better here than China. It's tricky because I don't think Chuganu saves you. You needed Horseman, right? I would say a lot of this group stage has felt like comfort picks. But I think also part of it is like the idea of what is optimal in 2v2s, and having less practice in 2v2s than 1v1s means players are less exploratory of like, you know, let's pick Order of the Dragon. Let's pick, you know, the English in this weird format, you know. Let's pick Abbasids. Things like Malians, Chinese, English, French have been pretty frequently here. But I do think, you know, it kind of just led to an outdraft going this way. They did have the option to consider going back towards something more aggressive, right? Like game 1, they tried English plus Ayus. But I don't know if that was because maybe Nostromo had first pick English, and that's why you didn't get it. But they're about to get got here. Military numbers about even. Guildhall is on the way. That shows you how confident Killjadi is this game is over. That he doesn't even need Royal Institute to get a foul punch. They're that far ahead. Veteran Lombos, man. Just evaporating everything, even the Juganu. I think we're going to hit the speed up. This game looks over. At this point, they're processing the loss, right? There's no way you come back from this against this many Knights and Archers. There's just no breathing room anymore. Once again, that cut comes in. Once again, the Knights are able to chase it on the flank. Spearman at least chasing, but it just doesn't matter. Lombos get free access. Second wave comes in. And the blocker is always going to be there. No Fulani, no hope in hell. A 2-0 victory to round out the group stage for Killjadi and Nostromia. Woo. 3 years. And English and French still the bane of your existence in team games. The classic. Nice for a tech to go from fairly useless to viable. Which tech? Oh, you mean Pro Scouts? Yeah, I mean it needed its time in the timeout chamber, right? Like we have to always remember that there was a time where Pro Scouts was broken as all hell. We will remember the Fast Castle like Roost builds with Pro Scouts being like everywhere, right? So that's another series done. I'm trying to think whether we do some Age of Myth now or we do some more AoE 4. We could do some live from the ladder games. I guess I can put a poll up about it. What do AOM? AoE 4. I think either way it's going to be pub games. Because we've pretty much covered every single series now. So let's have a look. Wow. Talk about showing your bias. You guys really aren't tired of AoE 4 pub games? I'm not sure if I believe you on that one. So, do we have anyone playing right now is the question. Well, Voldemar's doing custom games. I don't think he's doing any... He's not doing a show match again, is he? I don't think so. No, I don't believe so. Handed question, is any of your mum or dad from India or Asia? No. No, I am British born and raised, mate. My father's side of the family can trace their heritage back to the medieval age in England, where I don't know how they track this, but apparently my great 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 granddad was an advisor to the king that got jiggy with a housemaid. There you go. Elderif, I have indeed played some Deadlock. I've got like 50 or 60 hours on it already. I only got access like a week or two ago. So I have 60 games played, I think it is. We're currently in the top 0.1% of players or something like that. I mean, I don't know how reliable that MMR system is, but yeah. We vibe. We're doing pretty well. Okay, so having a look. Who the hell's Dirge? Who's called themselves Dirge? So Kiljani must be in customs. Let me check live here. I mean, if no one's on, we might just end up on AOM by default. AOM is quite fun to watch, though. I'm hoping we see more Atlanteans, because right now, like my predictions for Age of Myth Wololo is majority Greek, second most played Norse, and then it's like probably Egyptian, Atlantean. And I think the only reason Egyptian isn't going to be last is mainly because of like magic more than anything else, because magic is an Egyptian main. All right, let's have a quick look down here. Ooh. 194 the Great Unicorn's playing. I don't know who he's playing against, though. Nobody on. But yeah, I want to try to figure out if we can run some tournaments. I might try to reach out to a few of my contacts and see if I can get funding for like maybe a 1 or 2K tournament or something like that. I mean, there was a tournament that was put together by basically an unheard of channel, right? And I think they apparently, with a $1,500 prize pool, averaged $1,500 viewers rather. Which, for those that don't know marketing, that is really bloody good. Like, ridiculously good. Paying $1 for one view is like, whoo! For reference, you know, for like a short ad or whatever, where it doesn't have as much meaning to a brand maybe on a YouTube video, they'll pay YouTube like $15 per 1,000 views. But like integrations in tournaments and whatever are very different, right? So like, you know, TOs will happily pay like maybe $4 per like average viewer, especially considering the length that they're going to be seeing the brand for and whatnot. So I don't think we have any live games, guys. I think Voldemar is doing some practice games with Kiljadi, probably with Dirge. Who's? Oh, Myriad. Okay, yeah, that's Myriad. Myriad and Voldemar are doing some prac games. Do we do some Age of Myth? I'm not sure what else we've got. Unless someone knows of any show matches that have been happening in the last day or two that I didn't know about. I think everyone's on Myth, guys. Yeah, let me have a look. And I think Viper's on. Right? Yeah. Ooh. We can see if Viper's been improving much on Myth. I think there's a bunch of people we can cast on Myth. So, Myth it is, I guess. Change my tar. Oh. Why you gotta do this to me? Have I even got any ties out? I don't know where are they all? Ugh. In this heat. Vai you do. Vai do. Oh. This work? I don't know if this works. I'm not sure if this color looks very fashionable. If it doesn't, someone could force me to change it. Actually, let's go with the double. There we go. You happy now, Mr. CH? Did you get all that you bargained for? Ugh, I look like a reject from the Scooby-Doo gang. Doink. Snazzy. Alright, so... maybe we could try playing Deadlock. Just don't think my frame rate's good enough. It'll probably lag. I'm really hoping to see some serious progress on the PC front this week, hopefully. I still got a bunch of pieces I need to fill. I don't want to have to fork out thousands myself right now. We don't we don't make anywhere near enough money content creating on this channel from AoE4 and whatnot to justify a 3,000, 4,000 spend on a new PC. Slow year, guys. Very slow year. So, let's go ahead and open up some Age of Mythology. Just catch up in the chat in the background. Wonder who we're going to catch today, actually. I think Recon keeps the degen hours, right? So probably not Recon right now. Probably no Trash Panda. But let's have a look. Has the game officially released yet, or is that tomorrow? I think that's tomorrow, right? I'm trying to remember. Might be tomorrow. For, like, all access, so not just people who like paid the premium or got early access or whatever. So let's have a look. Vortex versus Matreus might be a winner already. Tatto's been playing as well, apparently. I think that is just a good winner. Like, yeah, dude, I don't think, like, Matreus is a well-known name, guys. So, like, Vortex versus Matreus, that's your AoE4/Stormgate guy going up against your Age of Myth guy. That's, hey, that's a pretty good draw. Oh, I haven't had a chance to make a UI for this game yet, for the chat and everything. I have to figure that out. Probably gonna do the you can't load right now. Would you like to keep? There we go. Yeah, I'd like to keep trying. Basically, if it does this, usually you just have to eventually say the other option if it continues, and then you can just try to search again. It'll be fine. Okay, so I don't like that it kicks you out like that. That should just be changed. That's really dumb. Basically, you just have to wait a little bit longer to enter the game. So who do we say? So, see, I don't like that that doesn't work either. You basically just have to type what works then. Typing ranked match doesn't even work, which is weird. Anyway, if we go down here, we should just be able to click. And this time it should just load. It's a bit weird like that for some reason. Giza. Ooh. Oh, we got Greek on Greek. Poseidon in a desert? What's this man thinking? I can't argue with him. This is one of the GOATs of RTS, who somehow always finds a way to dominate in new and fresh RTS scenes, Vortex, a name familiar to people who, as far back as all the way to Warcraft, going up against one of Age of Myth's well-knowns, Matreus on the other side, playing as Hades in this particular matchup. It's going to be a fun one, guys. I mean, it's always cool when you get to see this coming together, especially when a new RTS releases, people from different scenes. For those unfamiliar with Vortex, this guy was in Age of Empires 4, this guy was in Stormgate, this guy's been in Zero Space, StarCraft 2, Warcraft 3, the list goes on. The Spanish bros, the Duran bros, are renowned for their ability to quickly pick up new games and thrive in them. However, this isn't exactly a full new game. Age of Mythology Retold has reimagined a lot of what the core game was, but there's a lot of familiarity too, and that's where a player like Matreus, who has been playing these games for years, could have an edge. I'm trying to figure, like, actually, does Poseidon have an advantage in this matchup though, right? Like, when you play Hades, you tend to lean into range units, right? That's where your biggest buffs lie. Meanwhile, on the other side, Poseidon is a cavalry-based version of the Greeks, right? So definitely gets a lot more value, a lot more punch out of that. I do think it's hard to dive Hades early on, and it's because of this little detail here, the Sentinel play, that you can basically use on your primary or save for a secondary. And, you know, I have to wonder, if you see any signs of greed, you're probably looking at a 2-base setup, right? That is something I've definitely quite liked about Myth compared to Age of Empires 4, is that 2-base setups aren't as instinctually likely to happen. Whereas, you know, not too long ago in AoE4, we had the 2TC meta hard locked in. What relics do we have as well? Scarab Pendant. I don't think that one's going to be too important unless you get hyper late in the game. The Nose of the Sphinx isn't too bad, just a casual increase into health on buildings. Siege weapons being cheaper. Once again, I'm not even sure if you'll get that deep for these ones to matter. It feels like everything we're looking at here, bar Hestia's Hearth, is leaning into value in late game. Even Hestia's Hearth is a 5% increase in train time for villagers. That takes a long time to add up. So no one's getting an immediate injection like, you know, food trickle, or maybe getting your hands on, say, extra piece or hack. So it feels like we haven't got any relics that should break the bank one way or the other. But I do feel like when you get these mirrors, if both players are playing a little bit more reserved, realistically, you are going to be looking at a later stage of play where those relics can mean something. Tech up choices are on the way. Looks like we are going to be getting Hermes coming out. Makes a lot of sense. We said you tend to play cavalry. Other side of it, it is going to be the infantry-focused Athena. So Minotaur access compared to what? Centaurs? I do like this a bit more for Hades. I think that gives them a better timing. I don't know if I'm the only one feeling this right now, but I'm a little bit underwhelmed by Centaur's performance at the moment. It doesn't really feel like that impactful of a unit. You can't scale them well. They're nice to annoy your opponent. Those early raids can do a little bit of damage. They can idle them out. But it feels like Centaurs, to me, right now in the current state, it relies more on your opponent being ignorant of what they do than them just inherently being good at what they do. Looks like we have got some Feces play. Other side of this, first Minotaur's out. I don't think we've got... There we go. Ajax is on the go. I haven't tested these details yet, by the way. Like, who wins Ajax or... was it Theseus we said he had? Yeah, Theseus. I want to say... Maybe Ajax? It's tight, right? Yeah, I think Ajax has a slight edge if they fight each other directly. But, like, realistically, you should never be in a position where that kind of fight happens to the extent that one kills the other, right? But it does mean you should have a little bit of respect on positioning. This is much bigger. We got Hippias now on the way. So pretty much what we would have expected here. Mobile Cavalry Battalion going up against something a bit more static. It's just Minotaurs so far. All these sheep are trying to sneak home. We do have Achilles coming out. So yeah, just a very heavy hero focus. Makes a lot of sense. Good blocker against the Centaur. And not bad at kind of mirroring out the moves early on the Cav while you get the real composition ready. The village center being dropped down. So not something we see as often, right? But this is trains villagers in his drop-off position. Feel like we more inherently expect to see the settlements coming out. So this, I think this is the first game I've seen someone adding in the village centers, actually. In the cast so far. Pretty cool idea, though. Lets you stay a bit more condensed. And I think that makes sense, because if you try to go for like a wide expansion of the settlements, you are playing against mass cav, right? You will get caught out for that. do have to be very careful about how you position for a fight as well if you're Vortex. I think one of the big things is you can never feel confident about an all-in when you're up against this right here, the God Rays. Restoration, a very powerful ability, which allows an easy reset and advantage to come out of a fight that should have been lost. Got a wrap around the back. Now, ooh, Matreus didn't wall off this little backside, so right now, Vortex does have a 360 rotation around the base that's quite advantageous. Instead, though, looks like he's trying to dive in the main. That's dangerous here. Watchtower upgrades just came in. I don't rate this dive that highly. I mean, they're getting good damage in on Achilles. But I'm starting to wonder if there's maybe a better target or a better idea in mind. In fact, we might be seeing that now come out. Looks like we've got extensions on the flanks. Granier is being dropped. No second TC shenanigans just yet, but with the stockpiling of gold as it is, I could see that being an option that Vortex leans into. Vortex diving TCs early since 1993. Alright, so for those unfamiliar with Vortex, that does hold true. He's by far one of the most aggressive players in RTSs, consistently. Like, no matter what RTS you stick him in, he has this, you know, full ham taro send it mentality, right? You want the bacon, too bad, he's bringing the ham. He doesn't really give you time to breathe. It's why he's always been such an effective force in newly released RTSs, because in newly released RTSs, being the aggressive player is favorable, because people don't know how to defend against things yet. That's why he's always thrived in those early tournaments when new games release, right? Him and Lucifer done phenomenally well in Zero Space and Stormgate tournaments in the early days. So we have a Hoplite coming. Correct choice, a little bit annoying with the Centaur, but that Centaur is barely alive at this stage. You can see that Achilles is trying to extract that value. Looking for that final hit. Just run Garrison here. Achilles. Whoa! Matreus. Looked like a bit of a miss micro there. He wasn't moving at first. Does get punished for it and taken out. And the Centaur is still alive here for Vortex. Not the best of health, only 83, but more than enough to keep harassing onto the economy. It means you don't really have the mobility to catch that Centaur out as long as Vortex is paying attention. And folks, Vortex will be paying attention. This guy is on point when it comes to his micro. Highly rated and praised for good reason. I'm surprised no one's tried to snatch a true second TC yet. I mean, you kind of have it from Atreus with this pseudo second town center. But I really thought that we see Vortex trending towards it. Instead, Vortex is like, what kind of pussy goes for more villages? I want more age ups. He's queuing up, guys. Gold and food is being stockpiled. We've got age 3 on the way soon. It looks like he's going to be into Aphrodite. So we've seen how impactful Nemean Lions can be. Nemean Lions look ridiculous at the moment in these fights. Especially when you're playing against mass infantry that can't dodge the roars as easily. Atreus really is benefiting from these extra defenses, right? Like, the Sentinels aren't that easy to dive into if you haven't full-on scaled into Hippiuses. I've got a counterattack coming. Something that's quite interesting about Hiplites, now I'm saying it both ways. Hiplite, that kind of gets like overlooked, is pretty good base damage, right? They can kind of stab into buildings pretty effectively. If I remember correctly, there's a tech that gives them bonus damage against buildings, right? I just don't think Hades has it. I think that's a Zeus-specific thing, if I remember correctly. Age up complete. Here pieces are looking to ride in here. Villagers not feeling safe. Looks like 2 are going to go down. So nice little raid coming through there for Vortex. And a second raid also on the west side. So pressure just mounting here. And I think we are going to have to see a farm transition out of Matreus. He's not getting out of this base. Food is running out fast. Nemean line also arriving. Matreus with Achilles. We've been here before. We're going to be here again. The maim also preventing him. Remember, in this game, when you try to run away, there's a maim effect to stop you from just disengaging straight away. Another death for Achilles in this game. Starting to feel like Vortex is playing Troy. That's where the pressure can mount. Atlanta also just great at raiding. Remember, she has insane movement speed, 5.8, basically as quick as cavalry. Nice dodge, at least, from some of the villagers from the Raw coming through, but it just doesn't matter. It's munch down time. It's crunch time. So many eco units being lost here. And you can see the lead that Betrayus have built up is starting to shrink a bit. Still ahead by 10. But there isn't really much he can use those extra 10 villages for right now. He needs to get out of the base soon. So we have got a fortress on the south side, so locking in that gold. Betrayus did, of course, find his way up in age 3. And he has got the passage. Now, this is interesting. Passage is a really powerful tool. I kind of anticipated this just being the bread and butter of these powerful strikes. If he can catch Vortex in a weird position, not able to pressure economy, you could just see Betrayus go for a trade. Just rush the enemy base, right? Love Manticores, though. I think Manticores, if you're able to scale them, are pretty effective here. In the median, though, at the beginning of the age up, Raws are just so much better. Nemean Lions are kings in this early stage. If you're able to scale up, sure, but it's going to be difficult to do so when you have so many pigs. Nemean Lion is going to go down. Ajax needs to target down the second, but he's not doing so right now. Backstab is coming through, but another Raw there to try and protect. Betrayus doing a good job of trying to hold this back. The numbers still working against him. I mean, all in all, considering that that was a usage of the curse, I think overall that was a good hold, and Vortex now forced to commit the ceasefire. You have to imagine this is starting to trend one way. Betrayus, he weathers the hardest of storms. He's locked in the secondary gold. He's got a natural flow over to skewer more wood as he needs it. I think he's in this game. I mean, Vortex's army is still scaling quickly, right? But the quality is really what matters here. I'm wondering, do we maybe see more Manticores coming? Could be a healthy solution to other issues. Oopsie, didn't mean to alt tab out. And yeah, we have. Okay, this is sick. I think Manticores are probably... I don't know, like I haven't been able to see much of them since the game released, but I feel like before they were a little bit too good. I think they have been nerfed since then, but I wonder if they are in need of another nerf perhaps. I don't think they're too threatening in small numbers. It's when you're able to scale, and the thing that makes them really lethal is how you scale them. Look at what they cost. It's wood. 300 wood and 25 god power. So considering how easily accessible wood is on a lot of maps and how much wood he has to work with, it's a pretty smart play to be leaning into this. They're a very good defensive unit as well, and these choke points, when everything clusters up, that's when that saturated damage from the Manticore volleys is more impactful. Beast Raid is going to come in though. Quick reactions out of Betrayus. You always have to be so quick. Compared to like Age of Empires 4, getting villagers out of a jam isn't easy. In fact, the worshippers might be dropping a nice garrison on the watchtower. So it'll be enough to now scare him off. A little bit chip damage done, but at the end of the day, this is still just one TC out of Vortex. He never switched it up, and now trouble's on the way. It's the passage under the gold. The Manticores come out. The villagers having to run for their life, but they're running the wrong way, away from safety. Has got a keep drop over here on the secondary gold, but heavy losses there. It's now almost a 30 villager lead for Betrayus. Oh, what a timing there. I mean, credit to him, that keep does save, and the fortress drop on the front side for Vortex gives him a reset point. I'm not sure massing Toxots up against Manticore is the way to do this, though. Toxote should end up just losing that fight, so like I think actually Vortex needs something else. Militarily, he's now behind. Economically, he's always been behind. He's at least doing a good job of stripping gold off the map near his opponent's base, but he's not blocking alternative options. Betrayus isn't going to dry up anytime soon. And even if he did, like we said, Manticores, they don't cost gold.
Etimos.
Kind of cool to see Chiron. I don't think I've seen much of Chiron so far in these games. Usually Atlanta, I think, is one of the most dominant picks we see coming out. Achilles occasionally looks really good. a little backstab grip. Love the fact that he's still using this passage. I mean, Vortex doesn't want to come and deal with it because if you try to attack this 1800 health structure, you don't know if your opponent's waiting on the other side to screen the trap, right? If he jumps out of his army, you're going to get punished. So you need to be confident that your army is bigger before you try to take it out. This might be the boon he needs. We've got Chimera coming in. However, keep in mind, there was a sneak up into Age 4 coming out from Vortex. So this Manticore play, this unit, I can't remember if it got buffed or nerfed recently. It's still pretty potent. Dude, this is so snaky. I felt like this game was on lock for Matreus, but with this Tech 4 out of Vortex, and the upgrades are on the way, champion range soldiers coming in soon, this could be a big game breaker. Matreus trying to move in. Good shots coming in from the Manticores. Jumps on top of him. Upgrades aren't in yet. The Manticore able to do a lot of damage to the Chimera front lining right now. How long can it do that for? Chimera is starting to snipe it out. It's going to be forced to retreat. So, okay. Wow. Matreus able to punish Vortex for overextending before the upgrades came through. Champion Toxots are now in. There's not many of them left. I think the only reason that Vortex is alive right now is genuinely this fortress. It's kind of frustrating the game, but I think maybe this is the stage where you just have to hunker down a bit, go for your tech up. Gold is looking good, but food is currently a big problem for Matreus. How much work can Toxotes really do here? Can they get like an extra, is a 1.5 G damage? A little bit extra health for the level up, if I remember correctly. So it's substantial, but I actually think Manticore is still the answer. Look at that damage! Yeah, that's it. I'm not surprised, man. GG comes out. What a cool game, actually. I love the approach by Vortex to try and get an edge ahead with the playing to the Manticores. Sorry, the Chimeras, but I don't think Chimeras work well enough unless you can force your opponent to kind of be stuck defending. And we saw Matreus was relentless on the pressure. We also got to see how good the Chimera are. Pretty much counted out this fast Age 4 tech play into quality Toxote. It just didn't really lead to anything. Great defensive plays by Matreus, and love to see that Vortex so early on is already playing for that all-in balls against the walls type style. Man refused to build a second TC the entire game through. Whoa, that was a cool game though. Hell yeah. All right, what else have we got here? So let's hop to the aftermath. Prostagma. Yeah, so the $5,000 tournament was not AOM, Maito. It's the AoE 4-1 that we were casting today. And yeah, Matreus is very talented, man. Like, I rated him as one of the more likely players to qualify. So let's get another game ready. Squeeze in a few more. So who have we got on the ranked ladders? Vodka's playing. Don't know who Sam's is though. El Matador. Where have I seen that name? Bulba. Damn, if only. The legend Bulba himself. Chemo's playing God Hug. Give it a quick refresh. If you guys see any known high-level Age of Mythology players, let me know. I don't know them all off by heart. Matador's ranked 17. There you go. I thought I'd seen that name somewhere. I'm pretty sure Vortex called himself El Matador for a bit, right? Oh, wait. Did it just disappear? I can't remember if it was near the start or the end. Scroll down. Is it gone? Beasty versus Viper. Dude, you know we gotta do this. That's a beaut, mate. Oh, what a treat. Switch over. One of Age of Empire 4's goats going up against one of Age of Empire 2's goats. That's right, in Age of Mythology. What an absolute treat. I could not resist. Double Egypt as well. 1-0. Welcome back to the Age of Mythology action. Live from the ladder in the rank pool here. We've got Beasty playing as Isis going up against Viper on set. Now that's interesting. I feel like I haven't seen too much set. He's been kind of avoided to a certain degree. Occasionally he comes out, and when we do see him, he seems to be a very aggressively toned version of the Egyptians. Has some really cool builds, actually, especially around elephants in the mid-game if you can get that deep. One of the cool things that you can do with the set faction is that you can basically get the red sprinkling effect, which gives, I think it's like a 5% discount, and then there's a tech that gives you a 10% discount. And then if you correctly adjust yourself, you can double produce out of a Migdal stronghold in the late game. So basically get elephants at like less than half price. I think it ends up being like 130, 140 resources for 2 elephants. Kind of wild if you can reach that stage in the game. Curious to see if it goes that deep or if we get in a more aggressive tone, though, because we already have suggestions being made. Look into my eyes. Not around my eyes, around my eyes, but into my eyes. You're under. Interesting is going for the giraffes. I feel like when we've seen this type of very aggressive play for set, it's very valuable to try and find the most aggressive unit on the map that happens to be the most tanky. But I don't think... I think usually that was it elephants, I think, normally? But there doesn't seem to be any in this particular game. So let's have a look at their vision as well, because I'm curious to see who's getting an edge there. I mean, this is all being seen by Beasty, so he knows the shenanigans that are underway. Kind of a very different approach here, right? You're seeing Beasty prioritize vision across the map, whereas Viper is just focused on trying to get these units on side. Oh, nice little yoink there. Beasty pretty much getting a freebie while out on his mission to set up more of these obelisks. Do we know who's higher rank here, chat, between Beasty and Viper? Apparently, Beasty is sticking to the Egyptians. I know that Viper has been experimenting. He's had, like, some Greek games, some Norse games, even some Atlanteans and some Egyptians. Beasty's the higher rank. Interesting. We'll see how this one cooks out. Oasis is kind of an interesting map with Egyptians in mid-game and late game because you tend to go elephants, right? And if you're going elephants, you don't have mobility. So if you're stuck on the wrong side of the map, you're completely too late to whatever's happening on the other side. So what you usually get is more of like a base trading approach from what I've been seeing. This is not going to be quick, by the way. But soon. Soon. I love how it gets a multiplier against buildings, but it's still 0.75 damage done. Oh, okay, thank you. We just got an update. So Viper is ranked 148th in the world right now. Beastie is ranked 185th. It's actually Viper with the highest seeding. Elephanto boys are on the way. Let's check the relics, actually. I don't think we looked at that. We got distracted by the fun of the other game. So relic-wise, we've got the Thundercloud Shawl, increased the pierce armor of human soldiers. I don't think that one's that important, right? I don't feel like you see Slinger too often here. Trojan Gate Hinge is going to be the increased wall. Not really that important. We have got Odin's Wand, which is glorious, actually. And, wait, what? Wait, what? Is that a bug? Why is there 2 Odin's ones? I'm assuming that's just an observer UI bug. And there aren't 2? And finally, Staff of Dionysus, so regen on villagers. So no, like, insane trickle or big damage buff. Am I an idiot and there is, like, 2 of each relic? No, there's not. There's 1 of each relic. That's a bug. Right? Huh? Odin's one's so OP, in an Egyptian mirror, we had to spawn 2. This goes now on the way home. I think we've got quite a lot of food here, actually, for Viper. Beasty didn't get that much. And when you consider the hypnotism as well, it's just so much extra food to work with if you ever don't want to use them to attack anymore. We've got the Wadjets now on the way. Or as I like to call them, the Hawk Tours. So for those that haven't seen them, the Wadjets basically spit venom everywhere. Pretty effective. But kind of glass cannony, they don't really frontline that well. Not usually like the go-to unit for a lot of Egyptian players. I think a lot more see value in a Nubite. Scorpions were ridiculous for a while, but I think they've been dialed back. And crafty little Viper. Oh, wait, what? I thought he was trying to hide there, but I don't know if that was intentional or not, but he ends up baiting him in. And hyenas don't take any bonus damage. The priest just gets wiped out. Well played. So he kind of has access to start poking in if he chooses. The Obelisk will see him coming, so I think he's just going to back up and play mid-map. But good start to this game for Viper. Yeah, and you can already see the military lead he's built, right? But the difference is the 2TC approach. What Beasty's aiming for is more of a macro game. And what a yoink here. So many monkeys in the corner.
And Duels?
Some people will call this cannibalism. I just call it good business. If you don't mark on the side of the tin can what meat it is, no one knows. So is Viper playing a one-base boom game? He has got the red effect in. This comes from the monuments. So I believe it's a 5% increase to, like, decrease rather to cost of units in the nearby buildings. It's nothing too drastic. Yeah, Viper's going for a kill timing. Beasty's just trying to, like, weather it and play later in the game, right? It's already a 10 eco lead. I do love that he done this, though. It's very crafty, because now with the Pharaoh out here, you're going to rush this down. If your opponent's playing a more fluid approach, just moving out resource to resource, you can essentially snatch this away, probably snatch this away, and then come back across the west side instead. It looks like instead Beasty is just playing for both. Okay, it's gone now. Wait, did he pick up? I don't think he picked it up in the end. That must have been a UI bug, right? Yeah, so he did, it was just Beasty getting that one. I just want to double check there wasn't some weird exploit where you can double spawn. It was just a UI bug. There was only one Odin's one. That was confusing for a sec, though. I hadn't seen that before. I wonder if shifting sands can actually give Viper a big edge. Like, in theory, right? Because you could go for a trade attack. I actually think, in theory, Sec can work quite well on this map. We mentioned earlier on Oasis, you basically have to split the map, right? And you end up kind of attacking opposite sides. The teleport does give you a way of attacking and then reacting. But this is ugly. Not an ideal approach by Viper. Walks into Free Priest, loses the Wadjet. And in the meantime, he has at least teched up, so we have got an edge there. Beasty, he's now mirroring. We've got Nefertiti's on the way, so he's going to be playing into a more Pharaoh-focused approach. And it does mean getting access to those Scorpions I mentioned earlier. Both of them, in fact, have gone for Scorpions. How do people feel about Scorps, by the way? I was feeling for a while like the poison was a bit too good, but I haven't seen that many of them with Egyptians yet. Nipsey's on the way. I mean, it'll be the perfect counter to the Scorp coming. Migdal's stronghold is going to go up, so Viper now with a strong staging point here. Siege works also on the way. It's that all-in timing we're talking about. I mean, he has to go now, right? Beasty has double the economy. It's now or never, really. And it's kind of worrisome because you can just see there's still so much food to work with. I don't know if that might be UI bugged. I think we've got a bugged replay here, guys. I'm pretty sure these monkeys are dead. There's no way there's that many monkeys on these spawns. But on the other flank, there's still plenty of food to work with. So Beasty, if he can weather the storm, he's going to be superior here. Guardian Nearby's now heading on the flank. You're kind of parked here if you're Viper. You either end the game now or you die. Siege Tower's now moving in. He's going to look to target down his watchtowers. Imagine if you could feed monkeys the villagers instead and make them fat. No, okay, we're not going the reverse cannibalism direction. We're going to focus on the siege. Armory's being targeted down. Beasty may have matched the tech up, but he cannot match the military force just yet. He can at least try to dent the economy, though. You can see Nubites arriving in the base. Unfortunately, there's no one on the berries. They're all safely on the sheep. So Beasty decides to back up, realizing this pressure's coming in a bit too fast. Camera Rider's also added in. Pretty interesting choice. There's no reason just yet, but he might be worried that elephants are going to be used as a defensive unit here. We are going to get the Rax reaction, so it looks like we are going to have the Spearman on the way. Actually, he goes for Axemen here. Why? Wait, what? He's seeing full cav, right? So you'd expect him to go for the Spear reaction, which I forget the name of. Is it legit Spearman? It is indeed Spearman. But Axemen instead, a little bit less effective of a defense here. Defense is overall feeling lacking right now. Siege Towers continue to just dent into the primary TC. Already down to half HP. It looks like Beasty is about to lose his main here. Finally has to fight back. Axemen head forward, looking on top of the Priests. We'll look to kite him out. Has got the Scorpion now coming in. Priests need to target that down ASAP. In the meantime, Fists are out. Siege Tower gets killed. Repair crew comes through. And Beasty, by the skin of his teeth, keeps the town center up. Pushback continues. Now, the Priests are going to be able to survive this. A lot of Axemen went down, and Viper does still have the military lead, but Beasty, step one on the route to getting in control of this game. He still has a double eco lead. Military gap still favors Viper. Resources are becoming a problem, though. Berries are being exhausted, gold being gathered on the flanks, and the monkeys over here almost finished off as well. Meanwhile, Viper has one idea in mind. More and more pre-spam on the way. So this is just what? Siege Tower plus Mass Priest, 1 or 2 Scorpions, which makes sense against the Axemen strat. I like this switch up, though. We've now got Slingers coming in. Should be a better way of trying to deal with those Priests, but the summon comes in. He uses the Ancestors, and this time, the town center cannot be protected. Villagers once again going to be pulled here. A counter Ancestor play coming in. It just doesn't feel good enough. Viper, he finds the hit. Siege Towers are still alive. Villagers are getting slaughtered here just trying to deal with those weapons. Beasty still has more behind this, though. Remember, he's got the quadruple racks. Make that 5 racks, 6 racks behind this to keep spamming out the troopers. And Viper, all of a sudden, has lost the military lead. Oh my god, it looked good for a moment, right? But Serpent plus the Ancestors on a delay gave Beasty what he needed to hold there. And now it's Mass Priests up against Mass Axemen. If you can get through these initial elephants, you can begin a beatdown here. And for Viper, there's no turning back, right? We mentioned before it's do or die, it remains that way. Yes, your town center's been dealt with, but the reality is Beasty still has a phenomenal villager lead. So you need to finish him fast. This is so cool. Macro game versus all-in. Love to see it. The best part is like neither player is just outright in control either. Beasty might be in problem town soon though, guys. He's been kind of banking on this never getting scoured. If Viper ever looks on the east side here, Beasty's ability to build a defense is gone. Now though, it's being ignored. Too much focus into the base. So many siege towers in play. Priests are starting to get maimed and chased. New elephants are now arriving though. The elephants just absorb all this. This is why I thought we'd be seeing Spearmen here to kind of counter this out. is an effective damage absorber. A lot more buildings going down, but this isn't too big of a deal. Remember, a lot of the Egyptian structures can just be built for free. It's only time that it costs. Both players gradually just scaling this priest backbone to their armies. But you can see the difference in Q, right? Like, it's just one temple building priest versus God knows how many buildings at this stage, 8 or 9. I think this is it. He's broken him. Viper, a cool idea, so close to working. Had he just checked the flank with maybe a single Scorpion, I think he would have been able to do this, but the macro game works when you're allowed to keep macroing. And although he's been reduced down to 1 TC, Beasty never stopped gathering. Wondering actually, is Viper running out of food soon? He's still got the berries, a lot of sheep to work with, right? So he can keep throwing out a few more punches here. I mean, credit to him, these elephants are still doing so much work, but finally we have Spearman coming out. The chain heal, man. Wait, is this actually working? What? I can't believe he was surviving that. I may have called it too soon. Viper. I mean, that was sick focused healing, right? The elephants, for a long time, kind of got good trades because Spearmen weren't there. But even with the Spearmen now in play, wasn't good enough. Got a bunch of these extra upgrades coming through. Love to see the Revel and Nephistes. It makes a lot of sense, right? You're building disposable units that are dying regularly, so getting paid gold makes more sense. Whereas for Viper, it's not as valuable. Elephants, there aren't that many of them, so getting 5 gold back seems cool, but like it's not something that would break the bank, right?
In which
I'm wondering, do we have that cheap efficiency coming in? No. What's the tech I'm thinking of? I talked about at the start of the game. There's basically a tech that allows you to get double elephant production insanely cheap. Gotta give it to him. Beasty's done a good job of surviving so far, but guys, he's kind of running out of places to run. He's built another settlement towards the center here. More temples coming in, but no Miguel strongholds. No strong point defense. Elephants able to hold the choke point. They are up against the concave, but they don't seem to care too much. And in the meantime, we just see the siege towers continue to hit the infrastructure. The mass heal. Oh, he's trying to target him down now with the slingers. But it means the elephants are just devouring the front line here. I think this is it. Viper pretty much playing a move out of the Age of Empires 4 Delhi textbook here. Mass elephants with scholars to heal for anyone from AoE4. That will sound very familiar. And it will look very effective here. Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. Beasty is only now getting into the basic armors, right? We just saw the copper armor come through. But I think it's too little too late. Resources are running out over here. We've got a Migdal stronghold now being dropped by Viper to just suffocate the map more. And although Beasty is starting to set up farms far, far away from this, I don't think he has the time available to enable that. I don't think he has enough time to get an army together to stop this from just surging across the map. What a cool game. Macro versus all in. Villagers now just massacring. Beasty thought he'd be able to challenge that, but I mean, he can't even afford to sacrifice villagers like this anymore, guys. It's 51 villagers to 76, but a 98 military lead to 42. You need everyone gathering if you want to get an army back online. Migdal goes up, and now that's more pressure coming from a different direction. Base is getting mopped up in the corner. Beasty's just basically moved to a completely different corner of the map. Don't understand why no camels. He didn't have Migdal strongholds. And he just assumed Rack Spearman was good enough, which makes sense, right? Like, Spearman should be good enough. The problem was that if he went camels, he would have at least had a way of trying to target the priest by running around the back. Instead, what he eventually tried was mass slingers plus Spearman, which sounds fairly cost efficient. But at that point, I think the healing mass was just too big. The trades were just too effective. Maybe also he was worried if he started building into Migdal strongholds, he'd just lose them to the mass elephants, right? So it's like you build one, you lose one sort of feeling. As elephants do destroy these buildings quite fast, as you can clearly see. But at this point, he's sandwiched, right? He's been pinned in the corner. This isn't even the full army of Viper. This is just the probing course. Even the kiting shenanigans there to tease.
You need to.
I'm curious if people are enjoying these type of games, by the way. Like, obviously, we do a lot of AoE 4 content. I guess it's refreshing. You know, really big praise to Age of Mist release, by the way. It looks like the cleanest launch of an Age of title ever. Final stand for Beasty. Has got the Camel Riders now, so remember, Camel Riders, they do get bonus damage against Cav. So you think it'd be pretty effective at trying to deal with these elephants. It just doesn't feel like it. It's too many priests and too many elephants now. Focus Fire is starting to come in a little bit, but I think Beasty is starting to run out of resources at this stage. If I'm not mistaken, this is the last gold access he has. Now hold up. Wait. Is he doing it? Beasty has the lead. Oh my god! Viper! It looked like it would just be a bruiser on the TC and that is it. But I made a mistake. I thought Beasty was out of gold. No, it's just hidden here. He's got 2 veins he's still tapping. No wonder he's able to get the camels together. A brilliant hold, and all of a sudden, we may be at end game state. But the outcome might be surprising. Damn, the camel switch to save him from the furnace here. I really thought that this game was trending to over, but I also think there's kind of an issue like happening here. Like, BC, he did have an issue in the food, right? That's now being rectified. Remember, when you play Egypt, you need gold to build farms. This gets him the mass farm online that he needs. And with that much gold in reserve, it's no surprise that Camel Rider spam was so feasible for him here. I think the other thing that's kind of awkward here, right, is that Viper had to push from 2 sides. It looked like it was suffocating the way he was coming in from north and south, but what you have to remember is that Beasty can mass his entire army and attack 1 side. Essentially, he's fighting half of Viper's strength, because Viper's reinforcements either have to run all the way around, or they're coming in a different direction. I think that mattered a lot here. And that is it. Beasty gets the win. Macro beats all in. And the AoE 4 go will be able to slay the AoE 2s. Oh, dude. What a sick game. That was so much fun to watch. What do I name that one for upload? I guess AoE2 Legend versus AoE 4 Legend. 2 of... There we go. Oof. Damn. I don't know. Was I misreading that? Or, like, I don't think I was misreading it. I think that was just a back and forth game, right? That felt like a really back and forth game. Maybe, like, called it a little bit early, but it did look like it should be over, right? Like, it looked like he was in Plowtown Central, but good God. That camel recovery arc was insane. So let's see. Give me a sec. What could we cast next? Wait, I have updated to Age of Myth, right? Yes. Yart. Is 2 weird siege towers being used? Could you imagine? If only we had that in AoE 4. If only it was a real unit. If only. So, let Let me refresh. See who's queuing up right now. There's a bunch of different players online, so we definitely got options. So, Atreus versus AC. I'm not sure who that is. Beasty versus a Chinese player. Dum-dum-dum-dum. That's just, if you know. Vortex and Vodka are going at it. That's a fun one. Has there been an attempt to fix them? Not really. Siege Towers in AoE4 are just redundant. Even Tower of the Sultan's kind of depressingly crap. I mean, the whole siege like weapon system needs a rework, right? Mangoes feel maybe a little bit too good. Springalds are just cringe as all hell. There's definitely a lot of negatives with the way that's been designed. Oh, we're good to go. Alright, let's go. Now, this will be a familiar sight for the Age of Empires 4 community. Two people exactly from there. Vortex on Isis going up against Vodka, the #1 go-to observer for Age of Empires 4, playing as Hades. One and all, welcome back to the pub matchups in Age of Mythology Retold. This is an interesting one, though. We're getting some Egyptian on Greek action. I think Vodka, I kind of tipped him off to something. We were talking the other day. I was like, yeah, right now, the Minotaur build is OP. Looks like he maybe started there and then it ventured outwards to Hades instead. There's this interesting build I've seen that focuses around playing with, I think it was Zeus, right? That Pegasus came up with. It looked like an unbeatable build where you just spam Minotaurs to win. So I wonder if he's going to try like some sort of aggressive timing here. I find Hades does feel like a more aggressive version, maybe compared to some others. Then actually, I'm lying. It's a boomy civ, isn't it, really? Like, I'm lying to myself here. Sentinels just give you that ability to chill and not worry. I think this map is also good for kind of chill 2TC play because of how protected the second settlement is on the east side. Gold is definitely a kind of question mark if you lean that way, though. Isis, I think, is, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's the more, I would say, boomy Egyptian choice. Set is the all-in-y type one, whereas the other two gods for Egypt feel a little bit more boomy. It feels like Egypt in general is, of all the civs, maybe seen as the more kind of TC-focused and central type civilization. Let me know what you guys think. Who do you think has the edge here in the VMB? Vortex or Vodka? Because Vodka, by the way, although he may be an observer, I think a lot of people kind of forget these days he was a very talented Age of Empires 2 player. I think I'm trying to remember, he would rank in like the top 150, top 100. Done the same with AoE4 when it came out, actually. He was consistently in like the top 200 for quite a long time. And he's been playing a lot of Age of Myth. Like this guy, it was brilliant. When we were in Norway, and he's observing, right? And he's the only observer really like doing the proper observing because Cal's handling production. Cal's like another observer in AoE4. He's just sitting there when there's like this talk between games and whatever, there's a little bit of time to play. He's just loading up Age of Mythology and playing some games. Guy has been loving this game. Vortex taking advantage of what the Egyptians do well, just getting vision out on the map. So he wants to see if his opponent tries to sneak out into these different locations. And in terms of relics on offer here, we have got Hermes Wing Sandals. I really like this choice with the Greeks, just because of how quick things are already, like Atlanta. Eye of Ornlu. I guess it's not too bad, actually, to get your hands on that. Eye of Ornlu is pretty good for kind of all-in timings. Kobesh of Horus. Heroes do more damage to myth units. I think that's really good for Egyptians in particular, just because they have the ranged counter to myth units. And then finally, Staff of Dionysus for the villager regen. Always an alright one, but I don't feel like it's an immediate rush type relic. So a lot of vision for Vortex. And I'm wondering, yeah, if he gets in here, which isn't going to go unnoticed, right? It does go unnoticed. Okay, so this creep buy is really important because now if Vortex just sets up the obelisk here, he can see when his opponent tries for a second settlement. So that'll give him an opening to be aggressive here. I am a little bit surprised, by the way, that he's not just maining set right now, considering Vortex is a very aggressive player. It looks like we have got the Minotaur strat on the way, potentially from Vodka, though. Other side, it is going to be the option to go into Sphinxes here. Yeah, this is a more greedy approach, right? Going for Bast, if I'm not mistaken. Just not something I'd really sync up with Vortex. Anyone who's watched more than like 5 games of Vortex in any game knows that dude has no chill. He attacks fast, and what the hell? Oh my god, they both want the giraffes. But guess what? I brought a Minotaur. What did you bring? Oh, that's sick. Pharaoh's now being pulled, so that should be enough to scare the Minotaur away. However, he does now have Ajax coming in as well. What is happening? Sphinx and Minotaur. Minotaur should win that. However, the priests are a big deal breaker here. Restoration has to be popped so early. Ajax goes in for the Sphinx kill. Follow-up is going to be Achilles here, so hero unit spam coming out from Greece should be good enough to win this. Look at that. The main effect on the Pharaoh. Great read there. Achilles should be able to run this one down. Rax is now being rushed up by Vortex to try and protect against this. Looks like there's going to be a pivot across to try and deal with the priest instead. Now, after the villagers as well, this is looking fantastic for Vodka. Essentially just ropes Vortex into this weird affair in the center. Priests look like they have the edge, but the Minotaur is essentially just a throwaway for the hero opening the Greeks love so much. Okay. Sphinx coming in as well. I mean, the problem I'm seeing here is just Achilles. He has extra pierce armor resistance, right? He's incredibly tanky on these type of dives. Just a great 1-2 read. It was a great counter to the priest, and then obviously gives him the dive potential afterwards. And now we are actually going to see 2 TC. We talked about it being very potent, but this is sick, guys. Vodka never used Sentinel. So he can now protect this area with basically 4 outposts for free. Just needs to get the town center up. Sphinx is rushing in to try and contest the villagers. However, you can't stand here long. Great read. Vodka doesn't panic. Villagers are going to start to get targeted, but I don't think it's enough here. Few are going to go down, but town center is up. Now, if he gets dove, he can now commit into the Sentinel and punish Vortex for overextending. Damn, that's sick. A little bit of an ambitious reach out, but there we go. Sentinel play comes in. What a cool game. Dude, I feel like most of these games just feel really cool right now. And we have got Toxots on the way. Is it Toxots or Toxite? I've been saying what have we been saying before? Like, instead of saying Hippolytes, we've been saying Hippolite. So I think Toxite is correct as well. And this plays into the strength of Hades, right? Hades is a archer-focused version of the Greeks. He has some buffs around archers specifically. They're really handy here. Wish there was just a nice little eye button you could click to show people the unique upgrades for a potential god in observer mode. So giraffe have to be forfeited. And if you're wondering why is the giraffe the biggest focus point for both these players, it's the best gathering, right? It's 300 food per. I think there was 8 here. I don't think there's another position on the map that provides more food, right? Monkeys, there's a lot of them, but they only provide 100 rather. Even this many monkeys down here, it just doesn't compete with that many giraffes. TC. Vortex still just trying to fish. I mean, he needs to find something now. It's 2 TC versus 1. If he can't punish Vodka soon, it's just going to be over. That being said, Vortex found a different way out. We've got the age up. The Fiti's on the way. Scorpion Man's cool, but you know, against Greeks, when they have a lot of these hero units, curious to see how impactful it's going to be. Ajax doesn't need to get sniped out. A little bit of an overextension here. Vodka desperately trying to get that sync skill. Just not worth it when you consider the priest can heal. Yeah, I think you needed to keep these archers in range to make that worthwhile. So I'd say that was actually a good trade for Vortex. Tech up now in. Now that he sees it, Vodka has to find a way of punishing this. Munster's being queued up. Big Duel Stronghold now on the way. He's got enough time to do this. Sphinx is going to go down before getting some damage out, but now the Scorpion is here. Achilles is dead. Vodka needs to get the hell out. There's no easy retreat, though. That one Scorpion can do a lot of damage. We need more hero units coming through. Achilles has been re-queued, but it's going to take about another 20 seconds to get out in the field. By that time, Migdal Stronghold's going to be up. That means Vortex has an opportunity to now punish this giraffe gathering location. And that also means we have a game. Vortex just refusing to roll over and play dead here. Love this idea of Vortex just stands there and goes, you trying to out-aggro me? You trying to out-aggro me? Not today, mate. Poison is so toxic. I'm just going to go ahead and press the button now. I didn't even mean that. But I mean, it's toxic in another way than actually being poisonous. It's just very annoying to deal with these infantry blobs. Especially when you consider these Scorpions have a pretty ludicrous health pool, actually, right? 500 HP. Reminder, an elephant has 495. Mine's now trying to dive in as well. Just not ideal. The problem I see is the more this turns into a chip game, the more it favors the Egyptians because they have that easy way of healing. And you've already used Restoration, and now we summon the Ancestors. Elephant's looking to march in. Achilles trying to target down that Sphinx, but over time he's getting whittled down. This kiting is on point. Vortex may end up eventually losing the Sphinx, but the amount of time it's wasted of Achilles there, the grab from the mummy's almost on point. In the meantime, the Elephant's just been wailing away at the buildings. Damn, the mummy's even going to get the kill on Achilles here, so he does go down. And Elephants are getting healed just enough to survive. This finally one is going to flop. But it's all starting to fall apart here. It's still a phenomenal eco lead for Vodka. But Vortex is starting to pull ahead when it comes to military. Not just that, Sphinxes are getting in on the villagers now. Big damage being done there. Not enough to insta-kill them off. But enough to start making this an incredibly uncomfortable game for Vodka. And a Migdal follow-up. So if this Migdal goes up, he can break this position. This is big. And without many Toxots to fight with, there's no blocker to it. Achilles just once again trying to dive in, but the damage just being done. It almost feels like Vodka losing Achilles so often has been way too expensive here. Villagers are going to go for it again. Sphinx, in the meantime, is starting to maul the villagers. They are retreating towards the Migdal. This has to go up, right? There's no way you stop this. It's expensive, though. Keep in mind, Vortex, he doesn't have a second TC. So losses felt now feel eternal. Migdal now up. That means the dive should get punished here as he retreats. Vodka trying to break away is going to lose a few infantry units. The pressure now starts to mount up. Now, keep in mind, Vodka can gather behind this. So it's critical now that Vortex finds a way of breaking this TC. Because otherwise, Vodka has already taken the risky resources. He has all this extra to fall back on behind him. Man, there aren't many players I look at this far behind an economy and feel that they're still in it, but Vortex is somehow just still justifying this. He could even think about striking south side, checking this area. Like, realistically, you expect your opponent to just fly to the north side behind the TC, but it's pretty easy to check this with, like, a single Sphinx, for example. Look at this food source. This was the other giraffe option on the map that rivaled the one just north of here. Plenty of food. And food right now that actually Vortex needs. I think we're seeing a raider approach coming. Chariot archers, rather. coming out. Try and carry him to that backside. Not really the ideal unit to fight the main army, but definitely an effective raider hit. In fact, we've got mass range coming out. Pretty crafty, right? Like, he's seeing his opponent was playing into Toxitates. It's unlikely he's going to switch off. And that's problematic because these bad boys only get bonus damage against infantry. Meanwhile, the slingers are a counter to other range units. Sentinel's now starting to be brought down. This should be a breakthrough. Villagers are no longer going to be safe. And keep in mind, in this game, Vodka has not prepped a farm transition. So being starved off of the map like this could cost him dearly. All of a sudden, overwhelming military lead starting to develop as well. We have finally got Hoplite and Q to try and deal with the elephants, but starting to feel like it might be a little bit late for that. TC isn't being rushed down. It's not as important as now just stopping gathering. And the Chariot Arch is just so damn effective for that very purpose here. It's going to find Vodka out on the flank. Passage has been activated. But if I'm Vortex, I'm over the moon with that. That is not a high-value passage, guys. That is that I'm about to die and I need an out passage. Such an expensive thing to use again later in the game, right? 200 god power required if you want to use it again as a follow-up. In the meantime, the Chariot Archer is just now able to keep on hunting. I'd say the only flaw we've seen in Vortex's game plan is that he hasn't sniffed out what's happening south side yet. Everything else has been on point to get back in this game. But finally, we have that move across. Chariot Archers now looking to put the nail in the coffin here and ensure that Vodka has nothing to play with. This feels so painful as well, right? Like, you can try to grab them, but remember, Chariot Archers can just kite you out. More are on the way. This feels like a GG type moment. Vodka is shifting the army ASAP to the south side, but not before there's extra eco losses. And to think that this game looked so over for Vortex several minutes ago. It's fully swung the other way now. 8 armies on the way. Vodka has at least remassed on the troops. I'm not sure I rate mass Hippolyte against double Sphinx here, though. The damage output's going to be kind of wild. I love the fat villagers are like, we need that food, buddy. Oops, wrong neighborhood. Sentinel's still getting some value, but the spins are coming out. Sphinx is basically role-playing his Beyblades right now and proving effective here. Hippolyte going to try to dive past, but the Chariot Archer is able to kite. How much work can the Manticore really put in here? Backstab comes through. Vodka looks like he's getting a win in this fight, but overall militarily, it's coming at a cost. Manticore goes down, and the kite can now resume. For a moment there, it looked like Vodka maybe had a hope. And, you know, these Chimera, if you can get into them, super effective. Sorry, Manticores. If you can get into them, super effective. But it takes so much time, so much effort, so much focus on wood gathering. And you can see still, after all this time, a bigger focus seems to exist on food. And that type of drain means all this wood is more likely to go into farm transitions and Toxite than it is to go into Manticores. Second TC is finally being dealt with, by the way. It's kind of awkward because he's had it this whole time, but any villagers coming out of this feel like they just die straight away. Chariot Archer is almost guaranteeing that. You're starting to see why Chariot Archers can be such a powerful unit, right? It's kind of wild when you watch him in action like this. It's the kite potential. It's like the little fat kid on the treadmill trying to chase the cape, but you never quite reach it, you know? That's the power they have, the power they wield here. 20 range just outranges Toxite, so if you're on point and on micro, like Vortex is, you can do this to your opponent. GG comes out. Vodka, so quick, so fierce in that early game, but Vortex able to find the way out. Damn. That was a cool game. What hype back and forth for? What do you call that one? I want to put giraffle, but no. Like a raffle, like everyone's coming to it. Out attacking, which is not even a word. Attacking the most aggressive player. All right, there we go. Sorry, I just had to type out the plans for the YouTube side. God damn, that was a cool game. Can't wait to play this game. Yeah, I think a lot of people are excited for it. Wait, are people organizing tournaments for Deadlock? Pog. All right, I might have to keep an eye on this. Ooh. Ooh. I'm going to have to check if like they have a channel they're broadcasting on, because they don't. Apparently that might be on like the 11th of next week, which I could do. Big Pog. All right, let's see who else we've got queuing. Weighing up how much longer we go, because I think I've got food around 5, and I've got a bunch of emails and crap to respond to. A Deadlock tourney? Yeah. Some community tournaments have been getting organized. I really want to like start casting some of those. I freaking love that game right now. I wonder if we actually call it a bit early today, because I have got a bunch of things to catch up on. I don't think I'm seeing any insane matchup right now. Yeah, one of the Discords I'm in are talking about their tournaments now, so I'm like, ooh. I'd love to, like, I'm curious about the idea, because I imagine there's loads of scrims coming on. Kind of just being, like, a watch party for scrims in the weekdays would be really cool content. Because I always, like, I want to watch things in competitive formats, really. That's what I want. That's what I love. That's what I thrive on. I don't know who AC is. Is AC high ranked? Is there actually a website right now tracking the ranks of the players? That's what I'm not sure of. All right, guys. You know what? Actually, sorry. I'll find someone to raid. I'm actually going to call it there. Sorry, guys. The reason is that, and to answer Medimash, Matreus is from Age of Myth. He played Age of Myth. I've got, like, some urgent emails to respond to. So I think I am going to call it there. But we will be back on Thursday, guys. We'll be streaming next on Thursday. Hopefully we'll have some Age of Empires 4 comp games. But yeah. Actually, I don't know. Can I maybe? I kind of want to do one more. I don't want to leave off like that, but whatever. We'll make up for it on Thursday. We'll have some more AoE4, hopefully, if we got some tournament games. Otherwise, maybe we just spin up Age of Mythology straight away. I'll figure it out. But I'm going to say bye to YouTube already. Bye, YouTube.